threatened by it because, like, diagnosed the crisis in working
How we
class
doing?
New Yorkers' lives. The call.
I think he's right about that. I do. I think he's right. I think that in the same way that Donald Trump addressed working class people in 2016, I think that he's addressing working class people as well, just with different language. I think that's accurate.
Cost of living, but unlike him, we're actually going to deliver on that, and that is a contrast.
Let's go get
I
it.
don't think that's going to happen. I don't. I think they're going to get hamstrung at every level. They're going to be stuck in courts forever.
Hey,
There's going to
Nishi.
be a million restrictions put on him. It's not going to happen.
There to see. Because while he is spending $300 million remodeling a White House ballroom, the same amount of money that could provide SNAP benefits for 100,000 New Yorkers, he's trying to make it harder for Americans across the country to
I'm listening to
Asmund
Asmongold react to
it's money that New York City is owed. It's not Donald Trump's to decide which city or state will get what money. This is the money
Mom
that
Donnie.
New Yorkers are owed, and this is the money that we're going to fight for.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't give it to you, you're not owed it. I mean, that's all there is to it. Like, you can say how much, oh, this is owed to me and I deserve this all you want, but if he doesn't give you the money, then you don't have the fucking money. Like,
Exactly.
that's it.
So Trump is not the only one talking about you tonight. Elon Musk is actually talking about you.
What a pair.
Yeah,
And-
it's private. Yeah, it's privately funded. Yeah, exactly.
He and and obviously Musk had supported him, was crucial to his election victory. They had their falling out, but they're back together again. Elon posts
Moderately.
about you. Remember to vote tomorrow in New York. Bear in mind that a vote for Curtis, referring to Curtis Sliwa, whom I just mentioned, is really a vote for Mum Dummy, or whatever his name is. Vote Cuomo. All right. Why do you think he's speaking out against you? And obviously, the personal insult is in there.
CNN coffee cup.
Look, I think
That's a good one.
this is one of the more expensive endorsements that Andrew Cuomo has ever gotten because it took $959 million in tax breaks that he gave Elon Musk for Elon Musk's pet projects back when Cuomo was the governor. And we're seeing the two twin architects of this second term of Donald Trump's presidency in the president himself and Elon Musk saying clearly to New Yorkers that their candidate is Andrew Cuomo. And they've picked Andrew Cuomo because they know that he will be the puppet that they want right here in New York City. And he's
He's the closest thing to them that there is. I mean, it's pretty actually. I don't even know if that's really true. I think it's really just as simple as Andrew Cuomo is closer to them than he is. Like, of course they're going to choose the lesser.
I'm not worried.
They probably
Mom
don't
Donnie's.
like Andrew Cuomo either.
These are
But
pragmatic
they like
ideas.
this guy,
They're good ideas,
and this
but
guy
how is
represents a more
Mom Donnie's about
existential
the free childcare, free
threat. Right,
buses,
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
free city
more aligned. Yeah,
buses,
they're more aligned. Exactly.
better,
himself to not just be that, but also to be their parent.
people
The language
services.
that he's using to close out this election.
Okay.
Send a social
You
worker
talk
to
about
respond to
the lawyers,
domestic
and there have been
abuse.
some really wealthy individuals who have come out and put money in PACs against you.
But I don't know how the free
Recently,
childcare, like, how's that going to work?
There are plenty of other business leaders
Like,
who,
to what extent?
in private, are afraid. They have concern. There are very few who actually will talk about it publicly, but one of them is Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan, and I'm thinking about this in light of Trump calling you a communist. Jamie Dimon did not call you a communist. He was more intellectual about it. He said, what does he really think? You know, he is part of that socialist democratic thing, which literally is more Marxist than socialist. And I read it, but I don't know what he believes in that. All right, so I guess he's basically saying he's not really sure where you stand on things. But what do you say to that concern? Is Marxist something you're comfortable with?
No, I'm a democratic socialist, and I've said it time and again. When was that
shut up.
from Jamie Dimon?
From Jamie Dimon. It was from Fortune last week.
Okay.
A Fortune conference last week.
Because what he's also come out and said in public is that in our success, this is something that business
Just
leaders
gonna
would
sell
also
these
hope for
as
for
they
the
are.
success of the city. And I put that forward to say that despite where New Yorkers may stand on my candidacy, whatever qualms they may have, they know that I'm actually being honest with them about my ideas, about who I'm looking to fight for. And that's sadly unique in this race. Because what you have is someone in Andrew Cuomo who spent the entirety of a primary campaign on
I don't think that he's being honest about eating rice with his hands. I think that probably privately he might eat rice with his hands sometimes, but I think that he probably uses some form of utensils to eat with to eat rice. I do. I don't believe that he does that privately. It's a common Asian thing. I mean, yeah, but also so are chopsticks.
No,
It's an
Muslims
important
do.
issue. I don't care. I do because
Eat with their hands.
if somebody is going to misrepresent their image, I think that means that they are probably a liar. And really, it's kind of a mining canary Like, if somebody is going to lie about, and I'm not even saying he's lying, but I think that, like, you know, for example, like any type of code switching or any type of I'm going to talk differently, like, you know how like politicians will sometimes talk like they have a southern accent whenever they go to like Alabama or something? If somebody does that, I'm going to immediately just assume that they're a liar. They're a lying retard that is just trying to manipulate you. Come on, Harris.
Lying
Yeah, definitely.
retard. Wow.
Like Hillary Clinton was like the biggest offender of this. It's a red flag. It's disingenuous. Yeah.
What do we
And
think
I
of
think
Zoran
if you're
Mamdani out in the
disingenuous
great
on
state
the
of
way
New
you
York?
speak or the way that we eat, imagine how disingenuous that you're going to be in terms of your own policies. I know this might sound crazy, but I don't really think that it is. I don't. I think it's just common sense. Like Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's old interviews of her not talking like she does now. She's talking like that in order to put out an image of herself that's inaccurate. She went to a $60,000 or $70,000 a year private school. It's bullshit.
The premise that he was the best suited to take on Donald Trump. And here we are with the Chiron that Donald Trump is endorsing Andrew Cuomo.
So let me ask you, because that was October 17th, so it was actually a week and a half ago. But I want to ask you
His
because
name,
when he said that.
Zoran Mamdani, sounds
Are
like
you talking?
But you're just speculating. You have no way of knowing that he's not
one of
doing
those
like that in private.
fortune-telling machines where it's got the
I'm
guy with the turban on behind the
You're
glass who
absolutely
reads
right.
your fortune
people like
on the
that,
crystal
people
ball.
that
It's
you
Zoran's name sounds
and
like that.
eagerly work with?
I haven't
or
watched in
not?
private.
Look,
Yeah.
I'll have conversations with anyone. And I've spoken to Jamie Dimon briefly, and I've spoken to a number of other business leaders across the city about my proposals. I know that there are disagreements around my fiscal policy, that I think we should raise income taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers who make $1 million or more a year by 2%, or the fact that I think corporations' top tax rate should be matching what they pay in New Jersey.
Where's the
And
synth?
still, there is room for an immense amount of agreement on what it means to bring the city forward, and I'll always leave that door open.
So, okay. So let me just ask you about President Obama. I know that you had a conversation with him.
Obama.
What was that conversation about?
Obama.
I appreciated the conversation with President Obama, and we spoke about both
The New York Post headline is that he's not endorsing you.
Yeah, well, the New York Post has a lot of fun with their headlines, to put it lightly. It was a conversation where we were speaking about the importance of hope in politics, the delivery of that kind of an agenda, and I also shared with him that the remarks that I had shared outside of a mosque in the Bronx not too long ago was inspired in part by his remarks on race.
A mosque in the Bronx. It's like
And I think there is often a tendency in our politics to
not all of
think
Islam
24-hour news cycle,
is
and
murderous,
we need to
jihadist,
step
death
back
cult.
and speak to the
Not
soul of the
really,
city,
not
not to
But-
the cycle of that city.
Do you think that he?
know,
and
it's a
he's
faith
running
that
for
is
mayoral candidate, so that's why I'm
shaky,
thinking,
questionable.
Of course, he wasn't going to.
And he's out there running for mayor as an
Do you feel that he has
unabashed,
your back?
Muslim.
That because there are plenty in the Democratic Party who are scared of you too, and they don't.
It's like
they don't know
no
whether you're going to succeed or fail. They
no
just sit back.
Well, they
perspective.
don't like the thing is they don't like him because he represents. There was actually a video I saw the other day. Well, I'll play the video after this.
Do you think he's someone who's going to be in there, in it with you?
Well, I appreciated the president offering to be a sounding board, and that's exactly what we see as what the future of these next few weeks and
It's
months.
obviously a line that Obama would want him to succeed. I mean, even if he doesn't agree with this guy on most things, he does agree with, or on some things, he agrees with him on most things. So yeah, and it's also his party. So like, of course, he's going to want Mandami.
How much
to
is a
succeed,
stack?
Obviously, like, what do you mean?
It looks like speaking to those who've been in these very kinds of positions and putting together a team that reflects the best and the brightest that this city and this country has to offer, and then delivering on this agenda. And that's what actually terrifies.
And Royce is only 34 since being new generation. Well, that's another really big factor, right? And I think this
59.
is a big thing that a lot of people aren't talking about, is the fact that there is a lot of young people, especially people that are around my age. He's 34, I'm 35. That we are sick of being micromanaged by people that can't use of people that can't use email. I don't want to be told what the internet is by somebody
That's
who
spot
can't
on.
use it. Like if you can't use a smartphone, sure,
Yep.
young. Well, I mean, compared to the fossils that are in Congress, yes, I would say so. This is like, yeah, absolutely.
It's like that hearing a few years ago where they had the Facebook
Nancy Pelosi's 85 years old.
and
She's 80 fucking
Instagram.
five.
All those companies
I mean,
were in
what
front
are
of
you doing?
Congress,
Still in Congress, and she's finally not going to seek re-election apparently.
and they were asking
But,
about like
for a long time she was. So
like
Trump
this
was
here
supposed to
Google
be-
machine, and he's
I
holding
think
up a
this is a problem, right? Like,
calculator,
I don't
and the
know
guy had to be like,
enough
"Sir,
by people that fundamentally don't understand
that's a
everyday
stapler you're
life.
holding."
Like technology and the internet are part of young.
And these are the
people's
people that
everyday
run
life.
the
And also,
run the world
just
to some
on
extent,
purely a generational basis,
but run the
I
country.
think that there's a lot of generational resentment that people that are around my age have towards people that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
No, we
Like,
should,
there's a
because
tremendous amount of resentment because
they're all going to
there's
retire,
an understanding that these
and
people
we're going
grew
to
up
subsidize
inside of an
the rest of
economy
their lives
and
to keep
inside
them
of a
alive as they
culture that
retire,
was, you know, like
and just
you could
collect
say
Social
more
Security that we're not going to
homogenous,
get.
less less extreme and destabilized.
We're allowed to be
and
upset.
also they had more abilities to like buy things, basically, right? And so that's it. What about term limits? Would that solve the problem? No, that wouldn't solve the problem. The problem is that I don't want to just replace somebody with a young person just because the person's young. But these are confounding variables. And I do think the fact that him being a lot younger than these other guys does play a huge role in it. Because a lot of
8 levels to go, and I can unlock the apron.
Candidates they can really relate to.
Level 59.
And whenever you have somebody who's 34 that understands what the internet is, that's, you know, has a Twitter account, used to be a rapper, like you could say it's stupid, but it is also it's relatable. And that's the issue. Campaign financing is a problem. Yeah. Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? Is that there's a lot of people that are finally like, okay, finally now it's our turn. And by our turn, I mean it's the turn of the people that are younger to be able to take office and make decisions for the future, rather than have decisions made for them by people that are going to die in 5 years.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk and even Andrew
Huge
Cuomo
factor.
the most.
Mega
it's their
factor.
fear that we will, in fact, accomplish the things that we have campaigned on. And that's one place where they're actually right.
All right, Zoran Mamdani, thank you very much. Obviously, we're hours away.
Yes.
Hours away here. Are you ready? Do you expect it's going to be a big night for you?
I'm
Not
hopeful.
really.
I'm confident, but I'll never be complacent. But look, if people want to vote for Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they should vote for Andrew Cuomo. If people want to vote for change, they should vote for me.
All right, Zoran Mamdani, thank you very much.
That's a good sell line.
Voted for change. He changed his mind. We'll see what happens. I don't have a big lot of hope on this one, okay, guys? And let's be real. But yeah, remember that? And he's a good speaker. Oh, he's a great speaker. He does a very good job in interviews. And
He's all talk.
He's very talented as a politician. I think that anybody could
How you doing,
acknowledge that.
Tom
What does
Mook?
that have to do with running a country? I understand the resentment. What it has to do with running the country is that if you don't if you can't use and understand the internet,
what the
AI,
fuck?
and technology, you fundamentally don't know where the world is going. On just a very, very basic
come on.
level, you don't understand modern life. So whenever you have somebody who's making decisions that, in my opinion, does not understand modern life, you've got a big
These
problem.
things suck.
A huge problem. You're out of touch. Yeah, they're out of touch. It's that simple. I'll link you guys the video. But that's why you get people who do well.
I don't think New York is going to be cooked.
Sure. You mentioned Obama
I
giving a
mean,
speech about race
New York's
and hope,
already a
and that's a
shithole.
criticism I had for Obama. Everybody forgot about Occupy Wall Street and started focusing on race and identity. I'm not a fan of race-based politics. I think it's very problematic, and I do think that it will lead to white people.
Yeah, it's a
using the same
shithole.
Identity politics that minorities.
This won't help.
It's
I think
very
people are going to be
obvious this is what's
incentivized to
happening.
just
It's already
be
started
scumbags in
happening,
public.
But it's just going to continue getting.
I do have
worse, in my
concerns that
opinion,
Jewish people
is
are just
that
going to
you're
be
to have
attacked
more and more
wholesale
white
and a
people
lot more, and
weaponizing and using identity politics.
you know,
and
it's
saying,
going to be
okay,
they're going to get
in
arrested
the
or not
same
arrested
way
at all,
that,
or arrested then let go on bail because
Jesus,
their community is
I forgot what I was
underrepresented
gonna
and
say.
being
Give me a
treated
second.
fairly. So
what the fuck was it? What was
we're going
it?
to let you go. We're going to give you a second chance. Be good. And it's going to keep happening.
Oh, right. I was going to play a video. That's right. Okay. So anyway, let's see if I can find this. Yeah, here we go. This is also another very big factor.
Oh, I never liked New York City. It was fun and exciting to go there when I was a kid. But, when I say kid, late teens, early 20s. But
That is, do you care more about the American people or Israel?
because I grew up in a really rural area. So it was nice to go to the city, somewhere exciting with lights and things happening and places to shop and different people to see.
Who do you care
But
about more, the United States or Israel?
these skill ups are dog shit.
United States or Israel, sir? No answer? Should we put you down for Israel? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? It's an easy one. American people or Israel? You don't got to fake a phone call. American people or Israel?
Man,
Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel?
That is such a trap.
The American people or Israel?
American
sir?
people or Israel?
Answer the
Who do you
question.
care about more, the American people or Israel?
What a stupid question. No, it's not. If this, I want a politician that says I care about the American people more than any other group of people in the entire world. And I will fight for their interests over the best interests of other people because they elected me. That's what I want my politician to
Just
do.
say I care about my constituents in my
Because I
district.
want him to be an advocate for me.
It's not a wrong answer.
Not for Nigeria, not for Israel.
I do like what Mom Donnie
Africa,
said though in the
not for
debate.
Australia.
The mayoral debate.
It's an instant.
On Donnie,
it's an
Cuomo,
instant
Sliwa,
answer.
and the other guy, and
Instantaneous.
they're like, oh, where's your first foreign trip gonna be?
The question is easy.
One of them was like Israel, one of them was like Ukraine, one of them was like Israel, and Mom Donnie's like,
exactly.
the first foreign trip will be to the Bronx, whatever energy facility to find out why that thing's a piece of shit.
That's
a great answer.
For less money than kids would get to do a Fortnite sponsorship. Isn't that embarrassing? Like you have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds that are professional Fortnite players that refuse gambling deals for more money than these politicians are selling out the entire country for. It's pathetic. Really, it's pathetic.
That Israel is one of our strongest allies in a part of the world where people are trying to harm us, and I think they need our support.
So should the U.S. continue funding Israel?
Saying funding Israel is such a trap. That is such a dumb statement.
$14,000. And in my opinion also, by the way,
It's like your kid telling you, no, I'm not going to buy you Oreos and chips.
And then these Israeli
And it's like, oh, so you're not going to buy me food? Like, no, I'm not going to buy you Oreos and chips.
Like, I don't think that a lot of them
It's
are
two very different
necessarily being
things.
paid to say this, but they might know that they will stop being paid if they don't say this. But they basically just found people that, were already had this opinion, right?
Let the mother-in-law name the baby? Just watching this video. Mother-in-law wanted to name the baby her same name. My mother-in-law? I'll let her name her a Chinese name if she wants, but I'm not letting her name the baby. It depends.
$115,000.
Name the baby a same name. Yeah, no. It's always the mother-in-law, too. Well, I guess
Can you believe that shit?
it's probably the husband's
That is
mom,
insane.
right? That's my guess.
Yeah, I think that's really like that. There's something wrong with that. There's definitely something wrong with that.
Coming from the same people. It's coming from the taxpayers, sir. Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel?
Such a shitty question.
American people or Israel, sir? Sir, they're equal? Are you serving Israel or are you serving America?
$61,000. Are you kidding me? 61. Really?
Okay, so can you answer?
I stand with Israel, and he puts his hand on the American Israel flag. Oh my God! What even is this? It says "Stand with Israel," and he even he has it right under.
I don't think it's good that, American citizens are.
Oh.
I don't think not that it's not good, but they're American citizens in the IDF. I think some of them are even in Congress, so it's like you can be in a foreign nation's military and be in our government. Like I thought if you were a U.S. citizen and you joined another country's
in the government to further Israel's interests, you know what I would do? No, you don't, because I'm not going to say it. But I will say this. This is what I would do.
Yeah, like if you have
denaturalize every single one of them as citizens, and I would send them over to Israel. One-way ticket. You're gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Like if you get any kind of basically you have people that are got weapons and explosives training in a foreign country. That's not cool.
Every single person that was a dual citizen that I thought was working in the best interest of a foreign government. Like any
And I don't know what the obsession is of Israel. It's like
back to Somalia.
Yeah, they're threatened. They're surrounded by enemies on all sides, but they're not. A lot of countries are surrounded by enemies on all sides.
Yep, that's right.
India doesn't like Pakistan.
Yes, Democrats, America or Palestine? Easy answer.
Well, Palestine
you're missing the big picture.
marginally exists.
Trump's own son-in-law supports Israel. Yeah. Jared Kushner isn't in office. He's not in office. I mean, I think it's a pretty big difference. Like, and also, by the way,
Where am I at?
like, I'm not even saying that's good. Like,
It's
being
3.
Israeli isn't the problem. The issue is the fact that people are elected to office that
4.
have dual citizenship, that are advocating for and acting in the best interest of a foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's like, supporting Israel is one thing, but whenever you're taking a bunch of money from them, you also have a citizenship there. You can't even say that you're working in the best interest of the American people over Israel. I mean, we really have a lot of points on the graph here, and you can draw a pretty goddamn straight line.
Israel's thing that
I don't know what like. What are we
paraphrase
talking about?
Sagar and Jetty. He's like, oh, Israel, you know,
Okay, so can you answer the original question?
they got to wipe out Hamas. They can't have any enemies on their border. And he's like, there's countries all over the world that have
Acting like
several
supporting
countries
Israel is
around
bad,
them
supporting
on their
Somalia is
borders
the
that don't
dumbest
like
thing.
them, but they have to live with it. But Israel can't. They have to have their
They're
enemies
both
completely
foreign
destroyed or
countries.
removed.
And there, you could say that supporting Somalia is worse or better depending on what your opinion of it is and what your opinion of Israel is. But they are both on the spectrum of bad, and go over there then. Like, yes, obviously, like, okay, maybe you think one's better than the other, but both are bad enough for me to say you have to leave. That's the way I would see it. How about supporting Ukraine? I think supporting Ukraine is pretty much the same thing. Yeah, if somebody's a dual citizen in Ukraine and they're advocating for Ukrainian interests over American interests, I would say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I mean, is that supposed to be like a gotcha? I mean, it's a very simple concept.
A friend of mine is saying, since Trump and Republicans have taken office, my energy bills have gone up. I'm guessing that's what he's going to say. It's Trump's fault. He's been in office since January, and energy bills have gone up. Come on.
It's a simple question.
It is.
Do you love your wife more than your
I
daughter?
love the United States more than I love this. Who's the priority when you're casting a vote in Congress?
$19,000.
America or Israel? It's a very simple question. You're not.
And that's the real problem, is that question right there.
When I love this, who's the priority when you're casting a vote in Congress? America or Israel?
Okay, and the tariffs are royally fucking my
It's
job.
very
Grocery
sensitive.
prices of
Well, it's a very simple question. You're not answering it.
real job growth numbers
the
are
big one.
underperforming.
$19,000.
Federal spending is way up. Deficit got high. Georgia, longest shutdown in history, but Republicans refuse to negotiate.
$28,000.
Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel?
Oh.
No answer. Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? American people or Israel, sir?
Oh god, that's such a trap. That's so stupid.
Stupid Baldy. Stupid Baldy. Oh my god.
296,000 gets from Israel.
Why is this such a hard question to answer? Well,
It's a
that's
trap.
great
It's
question,
like
isn't
which
it?
kid
That's
do you
an
love the
amazing,
most?
Great question.
Yeah, longest
There you
government
go.
shutdown. It's
It's not a gotcha. I just think it's different. Sending Ukraine many billions
It
of dollars
sucks.
isn't for America's interest any more than aiding Israel in the Middle East. Yeah, it's not talked about the same. I don't think that really,
about
I mean,
healthcare,
like, for
right? I don't
example,
even know all the
like,
details because
helping
every time these
Israel
shutdowns
bomb
happen, I just think it's.
Palestinians is
I
definitely
think a lot of these
less
shutdowns are much
existential
to do
threat
about
than
nothing.
Russia with nuclear bombs. Like us,
It does
trying
suck, the
to,
TSA and the
barricade
air traffic
Russia out
controllers,
from taking over
but our
Ukraine
airlines have
and
been fucked for a
expanding and
long
creating
time.
a new Soviet Union is a much more existential and direct threat than Hamas in Palestine. Like, are we really going to compare the threat of Russia with nuclear bombs to a fucking some rinky-dink terrorist organization in Palestine? Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's not even remotely the same thing.
Fun. Oh, it broke and I got a skill up. Nice. Trying to hit 60.
It's an argument we've heard time and time again. That if only people could experience socialism or communism,
Now we got
they
Tim
would
Pool.
change their minds about it. We have this from the Free Press. Coleman Hughes. New York City's socialist experiment begins. Zoran Mamdani is actually getting flack from many liberals because his tone is changing. He is a communist. In this article, Coleman Hughes writes, the antidote
He is
to
a
Marxism
communist.
has always been experiencing Marxism. Today, the Big Apple becomes an unwitting test subject. Let's entertain that concept, good sir, and go with 69 years of the Soviet Union. How about the ongoing Chinese communist authoritarianism? 100 million dead. We can take a look at Venezuela. Venezuela's been experiencing Marxism for some time now. Ain't been cured of it. This argument is bunk. But we keep hearing it. Chicago is a great example.
I hate
Randy
calling
Johnson has
China
run the city to the ground, and
a
yet
communist country.
no one seemed to have learned a lesson.
Like the
Now,
party by
Venezuela
title, by their
like
name,
what
yeah, they're the
Chicago.
Communist
And then
Party.
you get Brandon Johnson.
I mean,
Zoran Mamdani will
I can
cause
call myself
activists,
the,
entrenched communist authority.
I don't know.
And they will blame everyone else. Now, that
Nishi, give
being
me a good
said,
nickname for me as an
I'm hoping
entity
for a real exodus.
that isn't related to
As
what I
may
am.
actually then
Like-
happen is that millionaires and billionaires leave the city and their tax revenue dries up.
It makes no
and then
sense.
they're in trouble. But they'll just go to the state and they'll say, state, pay the rest of our bills, which is what they do. I don't think this will cure anyone of socialism.
Tim
or
Pool
communism.
talking like Trump.
But there's a potential argument that outside of the cities, this could entrench conservative rule in other swing districts. As more moderate right-leaning individuals flee blue areas, if they move into purple areas, they can turn them red. And let the blue stay blue, they will lose their authority. So we'll see. Let's read a little bit from Coleman Hughes.
I need
He says, last night,
rock salt.
the once unimaginable happened. New York City elected a socialist as a mayor. Zoran Mamdani is a member of the DSA.
The point is, like,
an
they're called the
organization
Chinese
dedicated to transforming
Communist
our
Party.
relations of global capitalism.
And
How did we get
like
here?
the only thing they are there is
According to Coleman
Chinese
Hughes,
and
you
a
can't
political
answer that question
party.
without reading Thomas Sowell,
That's like me
one
calling
of the most
myself the
influential economists and social philosophers, and has written more than 35
feathered
books. We know
cilantro
Thomas Sowell is a
eating,
genius.
you know,
It would seem a perfect
vegan.
time for Marxists to celebrate.
And
New York City has elected a
feathered
proud socialist
cilantro
leader
eating
with history as any guy.
vegan human.
The celebration
The only
may be
thing I am
spread
in that
across the
statement
world
is
in the Soviet
human.
Union of Venezuela.
I'm not covered in
The image of
feathers.
Marxism
I
is
don't like
also an
cilantro. I'm not a
experience of
vegan.
Indeed,
So
some
I
of
can
the
call
fiercest and
myself
most
that.
effective critics of Marxism being
And
Marxists themselves.
Believe
True,
in
for instance, of
veganism
Robert Nozick, Irving Kristol,
and
Robert
not
Conrad,
actually
Paul Johnson,
conduct it.
Deirdre McCloskey,
It's a really bad
Kingsley
example, but I
Amis,
think you get the point.
and Eugene Genovese and Elizabeth Fox Genovese. Of all the intellectuals that started out as collectivists, only to become staunch capitalists, perhaps none is more famous than Thomas Sowell. Sowell was drawn to Karl Marx as a young man, because as he put it, the German philosopher explained so much of his grim experience. Well, Karl Marx was a retard who had no real experience and didn't understand how economics worked. So he wrote a bunch of retarded garbage, and people to this day believe it because they're retarded. Unfortunately, what pierced Sowell's bubble?
The hell
He's
was
unlike
buying
one-word
Freya's tier
evidence.
for 10K?
That evidence was not gleaned from his studies. Indeed, he remained a Marxist even at the University of Chicago. In 1960, a 30-year-old Sowell served as an intern in the Department of Labor, assigned to analyze Puerto Rico's sugar industry, where a federal minimum wage applied. As he looked at the data, Sowell noticed a troubling pattern. Every time the minimum wage was raised, unemployment climbed. Sowell began to wonder whether the law itself was causing the job losses, as standard economic theory would predict. His colleagues disagreed. They offered another explanation. A hurricane had devastated the crops. To find out which explanation was correct, Sowell proposed a test. What we need, told his cold workers excitedly, are stats on the amount of sugarcane standing in the field before the hurricanes came through Puerto Rico. If there was plenty of sugarcane before the storms, then the hurricane couldn't be the culprit. The suggestion was met with stunned silence and promptly rejected. After all, 1/3 of the department's funding was tied to enforcement of the minimum wage law. For Sowell, it was a minimum wage office. For the Marx-curious denizens of New York, it may well be Zoran Mamdani's government-run grocery stores, if they even materialize.
They probably won't. How do you have
Mamdani
government-run
voters do not
grocery
come
stores?
from
How's that going to
poverty
work?
like Sowell does. Indeed,
What's going to
in the
stop
primary,
someone from
opposite
coming in and just
Mamdani
looting
low-income New Yorkers.
and just stealing
Few, however,
everything?
come
Like,
from a
not even
generation that
stealing if
believes,
it's
rightly or
free.
wrongly, that the
What's going
American
to stop
dream is
someone from
harder
just
for them to
freeloading?
achieve than it was for their parents. Many are saddled with college debt.
And taxes are going to go up. You pay for that.
Employers, even if their experience is nowhere near as
And why do the
Sowell's.
people that work in
Now,
New York
my
City have to
friends,
subsidize
that brings us
the poor?
to the great
Like,
socialist experiment.
not the poor, but
Okay,
they're
so
paying enough taxes as
what's
it
gonna
is.
happen?
Paying into
These
Social
people who are
Security and
worthless
health care they're
employees
not going to
who can't
see.
find jobs, can't pay the bills, can't buy
Or
property,
use.
They are not going to accept fault for the mistakes they made. They're going to either blame billionaires and rich people and call them parasites,
Oh my God.
or they'll blame society. Now, to be
Give me a
fair
skill
with
up.
you, I do, to a certain degree, blame society, and I think the
1,
boomers, I'm sorry,
2,
boomers, largely at fault,
3.
begging, go to college, they said. Go to college, they lied. Fortunately for me, I didn't. And I owe much of my success
Or
not just to not going to college, but I believe a large component of what made me who I am brought me to not going to college, right? So as a young person solving my own problems, I could not rationalize how college made sense. Well, the boomer generation begged millennials, go to college, begged them, take out debt, and now they're saddled with debt they can't pay off, and they have no opportunities. The degrees are worthless because a degree never guaranteed success. All it did was make a bunch of indentured servants who are ready to revolt. Unfortunately, for our good friend Coleman Hughes, the cure for Marxism ain't Marxism. And never has been. I guess you can argue that Marxism, like cancer, eventually destroys the host. But Venezuela's been Marxist for decades now.
Can everybody hear me okay over the audio I'm playing?
It's just in disarray. The cure is
Let me lower that.
Chemotherapy. Excising the tumors. It's the only thing that's ever really worked. The Soviet Union buckled under its own failure. North Korea barely gets by. And they're largely propped up by China, protected. And it doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. It's funny, you take a look at the nighttime satellite view of the Koreas. And there's a funny meme where it's like, let's take one country, split it in half between communists and capitalists, and then see what happens. South Korea is developed, beautiful, fat, and happy. Maybe to their own detriment. North Korea is remarkably underdeveloped and starving. Sad, really. Did the people of North Korea learn their lesson for their communist dictatorship? No, they've learned nothing. Many of them have escaped or have tried to. People in East Germany tried to escape as well. Certainly you can argue that everybody knows Marxism is bad when they experience it, but you can't cure it. If the argument is an individual realizes the mistake
dark
they've
cluster,
made, sure,
no way.
but Marxism as a system takes over, and ain't nothing you can do to stop it. Well, what I would say is, you can't vote your way out. You can vote your way in, but you ain't voting your way out. And we are sliding downhill. I feel like it's ultimately inevitable. Because what happens is, listen, people want stuff.
Please hit 60.
They want stuff. Everybody wants stuff because you need stuff to live. And we are driven to acquire stuff because stuff helps us live better. So what happens when you don't know how to get stuff? Zoran Mamdani comes along and says, I'll just take it from other people and give it to you. And you're like, well, that's one means of getting stuff. You think there is honor and integrity? I tell you, nay.
He's not going to take anything from anybody. He can't legally do that.
Integrity,
Not just because he's mayor. The cops and all the guys with guns are going to be like, well, you're in charge now. We're going to listen to whatever you say.
Do you think a father
That's not how this
watching
works.
his children starve cares about honor? No, he's getting food for his child. So in a place like New York, where you've got diversity, these people just say, I don't care about you, your system, your city.
I don't know if I can afford that.
Extract every last drop that I can, and I will leave you in ruins, like a virus or a vampire.
Vampire.
That's what you get. Zoran Mamdani will extract whatever he can to enrich himself, burn the city to the ground, figuratively, I might add. Or, I don't know, maybe there's potential for it, literally. And then they'll move on. There is no reality where New Yorkers wake up because the New Yorkers who already know it's bad will flee. Any New Yorker who doesn't like what's going on will flee. And what happens? Venezuela.
That's not 60 yet?
Why is Venezuela still communist? Because the people who didn't like the communism fled. And they've entrenched the power, and there's no one left to fight back. The only thing that communists have ever understood is conflict. Now, eventually, the Soviet Union buckled under its own weight because the system doesn't make sense and doesn't work, and collapsed in itself. We don't have pure capitalism in the United States, but I say it again. This idea that you are going to wake people up and all of a sudden they're going to vote Republican is not going to happen. Probably because the Republicans are also losers as well. Who wants to vote for a spineless loser? Nobody. And that's what the Republicans are. Now, to be fair, there are many Republicans saying, stop dooming about losing elections in blue states. It was amazing that the Republicans won what they did, but blue states are going to be blue. Fair point. The AG race is pretty terrifying, though, as to what it says of what Republicans.
What I don't understand is like people that are all like
Democrats in the
free healthcare. They want government to have free healthcare, better healthcare. They open the government back up. Republicans need to negotiate healthcare.
as to what we can
People just
expect
want
going
healthcare, and the mean Republicans
But
won't do it.
I will not keep playing this
Like-
game of if only people experience communism.
People
Because
are
we had
all
George Floyd riots, and
they're
nobody learned a
mean. They
lesson.
don't want to give
We had
healthcare. and
Brandon
it's-
Johnson, Lori Lightfoot,
They're
Chicago,
not.
ain't nobody
It's
learned
not
a
so much
lesson.
that.
Seattle, Portland, California.
One,
ain't
people don't take any
nobody learned
agency for their
lessons.
health.
You could have had Larry Elder in
And
California.
their own employment.
No one learned a lesson.
They don't want
No
to
one's going to learn a
take care of
lesson from
themselves. And
New
these same
York.
people that
Stop
are about, okay,
pretending.
I want the government
I
reopen so
made
they can
this
have,
argument before
you know,
I was
publicly
wrong.
funded healthcare.
That maybe if people
That is
experience
some win.
socialism, they'll wake
We need
up.
publicly funded healthcare
Now
and
we
government to
realize
provide
it's not the
healthcare.
case.
You know, Obamacare is going to run out.
That's going to stop
The public
communists
marketplace.
is intervention.
And these people that are on about
So I
this,
will say this.
oh, you
I
know,
have
Republicans
no problem
bad. They're not
with
helping
rights.
anybody. It's
If
like, well,
Donald Trump were to
when was the last
intervene
time you
in
donated to
Georgia
charity? You
over
feel so
Jay
bad. There's stuff you can
Jones,
do right now. You can donate to charity. You donate.
intervention. I'm not saying
You can go
do it right now.
volunteer. You
Just
can,
stop us.
you know,
I'm
you can
saying,
take
watch
some of your
Paul,
unused
keep an eye on
food and take it to a
Virginia.
food
Don't
pantry.
let Jay
There's things you
Jones
can do, and these
take
people
you.
don't do that. They want to sit on the
Everyone else might have
sidelines,
under Jay Jones.
maybe vote every
You're never
4
gonna hear
years.
the story.
A lot of these people only vote every 4 years. They don't do any of the
Guy getting
mid
arrested for
elections,
drugs or
governors,
fraud
senators,
or taxes or
Congress,
some other cause.
off year
And no,
elections.
it won't reach the national level. But what will really be happening on the ground is that there will be a conservative guy who runs a business, criminally charged.
And it's just like,
Jay Jones will
come on.
start targeting his political opponents. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. The way to describe it is this, easy way to understand. I've explained how I will not be returning to Chicago to visit family anymore because they killed Charlie Kirk. If they're willing to kill Charlie Kirk, what more would they be willing to do? And if you look up the story from NBC,
Free
you can
press
read about how
sucks.
I was targeted along with Luke Rutkowski.
Is anybody in the chat familiar with the Free Press
13 years
media
for drugging
organization?
drugs in our vehicle and framing us. Crazy story. It really happened. It's not a joke.
The woman who runs
It's
it
not
is a complete
conspiracy.
neocon
It really
psycho,
happened. We documented it all in live.
and she's now editor-in-chief at CBS.
I get off
She
of
started her own
Facebook
independent
page,
media, which the Free
I got no
Press,
hair or whatever.
and she
And there's
sold it
three
for millions of
people
dollars.
standing outside the gate when I walk off the
It only got like
and they say, Mr. Poole, could you come here a second?
million,
They
X
frisk
million
me,
impressions on
they
YouTube.
frisk me, and in their palm is a little
I
bit
might
of
have
paper,
more YouTube
and they
impressions
go,
by,
"Whoa,
than
what
them,
was this in your
or
pocket?"
about the same.
And I'll say that
With
wasn't
that
in my
said,
pocket, and it'll be like 3
I should be able to
witnesses.
sell my channel for millions of dollars and get an
What
editing
happens?
job, you know, some
Well,
big
I will
shot
also
producer
criminally
job at
charge
CBS based
that
on
I
that
get sent to
metric.
jail.
It's fucking
And
ridiculous.
when people say, whoa, Tim Pool got arrested, the state says this has nothing to do with politics. The man was just carrying drugs. In fact, the feds should charge him too. And what are you going to do about it? Those weren't my drugs? Well, 3 cops say they were. You're convicted. And you're going to prison for 4 years. And you might say, Tim, you're paranoid. I will just remind you, Charlie Kirk is dead. He's dead. They killed him. Now, by all means, argue who you think did, but somebody certainly wanted to take him out of the picture. I recently had a security assessment once again, and I've been advised to increase security detail. It's pretty crazy reality. This is where we are now as a country.
Yep.
And I hope people are paying attention to exactly what's going on. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. Stay tuned. More to come. We'll see you all in the next segment.
You can think more than one thing at a time, but just have some ideological consistency about the two things. Star Wars is garbage. The Empire did nothing wrong. That's funny.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Jeremy Hambley channel, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day. And I hope
Jeremy
you're
Hambley has
enjoying
his own
this
channel
more
besides
casual video
Unsleeved
because
Media.
there's a
I didn't know
little
that.
bit more here to talk about with the Zoran Mamdani.
How are we all feeling
in
about
New York.
Mamdani and the
It is
elections last
my
night?
firm belief
I guess you
that
don't really
this is
care if you don't
probably
live
the best
in
thing that could have happened to Republicans.
what,
Because
New
if
Jersey
Cuomo
or
would've won, it would've
Virginia
been more of
or
the same, and
California
Scylla
or
didn't really have
New York
any
City.
reasonable chance. Now Republicans get
This
to
can't
say,
be
well, do
right.
you
My
want,
concurrent viewers is only
you know,
one at the moment.
socialism or do you want common
What
sense?
is going on here?
Do you want communism or do you want common sense? This is going to be, you're going to hear this language, you're going to hear this verbiage a lot over the coming months and probably even into the
Give me a
midterms.
still up.
Zoran Mamdani will be used as a cudgel against the left. This win could be, quite frankly, extremely bad for them. as people and business owners have already started to come out and say that they're moving their businesses out of New York. Dave Portnoy destroys Zoran Mamdani after election and threatens to move his entire company, Barstool Sports, out of New York City. Relieved, Dave Portnoy says he is thankful to no longer live in New York City following Zoran Mamdani's election win and has threatened to move Barstool out of the city. Mamdani, just 34, was elected the mayor of New York City on Tuesday night after romping to a victory with the polls of 50.4% support, defeating Cuomo at 41.6 and Curtis Silva at 7.1. The Democratic Socialist win is a seismic moment in U.S. politics. It really isn't.
Come on.
18-year-old super uber woke mayor in Minneapolis. I think he's still the mayor. He defeated that Somali guy who's even more woke. We've had woke mayors in Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. We've had
woke mayors,
commie mayors in Seattle and in Portland and San Francisco.
Finally, we hit 60.
This isn't exactly the earth-shattering win
Yes.
that the left keeps trying to play it up to be, which is why people have to
Finally.
pay attention.
8
stop
more levels
worrying
to
about
go.
fighting online and worry more about getting the
As soon as I
job
hit
done.
68, I can
However,
turn in
no
the
one
test
happy to
item
see him come out on top.
and unlock the
Barstool's
apron.
Founder David Portnoy, after Mamdani became the mayor-elect
Is that
on
an
Tuesday,
HQ?
he quoted a video of CNN's Scott Jennings branding him a great actor on X and concluded himself, quote, "Scott Jennings sums up Mamdani perfectly. If this is what the people in New York City want, so
I have to take a
thank
leak.
God I don't live there anymore."
Not that y'all
Portnoy
needed
has
to know.
also previously expressed his disdain for Mamdani.
This is
and his
so
left-wing
weird. Why is my
ideology, which has
concurrent
left
only
him
1?
weighing up whether or not he was going to move Barstool's entire offices out of New York City, which is probably hundreds
Weird.
of employees.
That's why I stopped doing
Here's what he's actually referring to
vertical streams for a little while because I feel like they just died.
here.
Compliment your guy. He's the greatest actor you have. He turned himself into a hood ornament for the poor and the downtrodden. He's a rich kid who is a great actor. He play acts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I can understand why.
All right, I'll be right back.
I can understand why
I'm gonna run
you'd
some
be,
ads.
Leery of an actor.
Put this
in
over here.
politics.
I'm just saying, there's no other obvious Democrat.
Guys, he's butthurt about that's a comment about Trump, I believe, or maybe Reagan. I don't know.
All right.
He has all the energy behind him. You talk about slicing and dicing the electorate. He's going to slice it and dice it in one way: oppressors and oppressed.
No.
And I want to find out if he has it in him to give.
Two 15-pound turkeys.
Give it up. I don't think he does.
They weigh
'cause
more
that's
than
the
me
energy of the
combined.
Democratic Party. It's oppressors and oppressed. That's why the Jews.
These are your
say
Thanksgiving
it's fair,
turkeys,
because
I
they know
assume?
He has labeled them as the oppressors.
Well,
That's why people who
let him
create
talk.
jobs in New York City are leery, because he labels them the oppressors. That is the worldview of the energy of this campaign, and
What
it's
does this
also the
NPC
worldview
even
of the
sell?
energy of Democratic primaries across this country.
100% right.
Crazy windstorm.
100%
Oh, wait,
right.
still on thing here.
And
Still on thing.
ultimately, we're going to take a look at some of
Okay.
his supporters. If it was me, if it was just me, I would move the company out of New York City because I hate this guy
250. So I bet
much.
you
We
got
saw
some
his
good
company's
farm
on the
fresh
Show
boys, right?
podcast last week. but I won't because
I do
there's a
want to
lot of
find.
people in
I gotta
New
look
York
up like
who don't
a
wanna
turkey
change their
farm nearby. I want my daughter to see a
Despite
real
admitting,
turkey,
it would
and not
make
like the
his
skinny,
employees
like
harder.
wild turkeys that
Portnoy
live in the
admitted
woods,
he's
like
still
an actual like the
considering moving
cliche,
Barstool out
like
of the Apple.
Thanksgiving commercial
I
turkey,
may
the big fat guy with the
close
strutting
New York
feathers, the
office.
male turkey.
Trust me, I've given it a lot of thought. He had it because I can't stand the thought of Mamdani running the effing New York City. I can't stand it. But then a part of me is like, how much will actually change? And that's kind of the reality that I try to tell people who are like doomsdaying. The dude's just the mayor. Like the city planner has more clout than he does. Like I'm not
Exactly.
saying that we shouldn't be paying attention and we shouldn't look, but like he's just a mayor.
He
I
has
mean, you look at
limited
this, the
power. He has to
Somali
answer to
American
the
who
city
said
council,
protecting illegal migrants from Trump was his top
police, things like
priority,
that. I think he'll be a
lost
more
his bid to become
favorable
America's
sanctuary
wokest
city.
mayor. This isn't exactly the statement win that people think.
Alveda Mill,
Mamdani was
Roxel.
he was running against nobody. I could not bring myself to tell my viewers, hey, if in New York, you should suck it up and vote for Cuomo. Do you know how many elderly people that guy killed? Do you know how many women that guy allegedly groped?
Yeah, I almost calls him
This guy
Otani.
is a garbage human. Mamdani was running entirely unopposed. Anybody with any sense.
That's
would
good
not have
perspective.
voted for
Mamdani
Cuomo
got to where he
after
was
how
because
locked down that city and tried to run it into the ground.
all the other
You know,
candidates sucked.
According to Lead IQ, Barstool has 1,300 employees as of September 2025, with about 84% of them based in the United States, 325 based in New York. Mamdani has vowed to impose a 2% income tax increase
resume.
on New Yorkers earning
I had to
more
turn
than $1
ads
million
off.
and raise the top corporate rate from 7.25% to 11.5%. All that's going to do is make corporations leave. If you make $10 million, a 4 basis point increase in your tax is going to incentivize you probably to move. Probably, especially because you think about where that $400,000, $500,000 is going to go, right? Critics have said that this will lead to an exodus of companies and the wealthy from New York to low state taxes like Florida and Texas, putting huge pressure on the city's finances. After he triumphed on Tuesday night, the mayor didn't waste any time in getting, Trump derangement syndrome. Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up, Mamdani said at his Brooklyn victory party. Then he issued a direct challenge to the president saying, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Trump how to defeat him, it's a city that gave rise to him. Mamdani, who was born in Uganda and became a naturalized American citizen after graduating college, went on to cast himself as the embodiment of the resistance against Trump. He's a rich kid. He grew up rich. He was born rich. He's rich now, and he'll always be rich.
It's all communists and socialists. They're all actually rich. Now again, you can believe 2 thoughts at the same time.
He ran immediately to Alex Soros and took selfies with him. He immediately was rubbing shoulders with other elitists in
2 failures.
in his VIP after party.
It's at least a skill up.
The guy is a fraud, just like all communists. I mean, no different than Hassan Piker, right? Grew up rich, was rich his whole life, got his only meaningful job because his uncle ran the company. Laid that into sitting on his computer all day and acting like he's oppressed. He's got $10 million in the bank. He drives a Porsche. He lives in a multi-million-dollar gated community mansion in LA. That's who most of your socialist, communist people are. They're not actually working class.
Real streamers are guys like me, and I'm not being cute.
They use the working class as
Want a real person? That would be me.
They make all sorts of promises like
Oh, like it is.
minimum wages, like they did in San Francisco, and then what ends up
I'm
happening?
not
to
made
the
of money.
working-class people who got wooed by you, they end up
Whoa,
getting
boy,
replaced by
can't
robots.
be buying all that.
They end up. I mean, we've seen this play out before in San Francisco right now. Tens of thousands of fast food jobs have been lost to automation, which probably would have been anyway. But it's
All right, 9 more to go. 61.
That.
I could stop making this.
Mamdani is, of course, a terrorist sympathizer, an absolute loser in every conceivable way, a fraud, and he won't be mayor long. I promise you that. He will not be mayor long. I mean, this is one of his supporters. Watch a Zoran Mamdani supporter wearing a
8 more
t-shirt taunting a grocery store owners vowing to leave the city if Mamdani wins, claiming that the, quote, working class will seize your grocery stores and take over the entire food industry.
That's not how
How are
things
we gonna
work.
do that?
the grocery store capitalists, which have
Grocery store capitalists. This guy's wearing a communist
One
shirt.
of the grocery store bosses, he said of
There's a newspaper
right?
called The
He said that he
Communist.
was
I want a
going to
copy.
Pull out of New York City if Zoran won, right? We would say, sure, pull out, and we will take over your grocery stores, right? And we will use them for cheaper groceries.
You do realize they'll pull out of their grocery stores. They're taking their refrigeration with them, possibly.
Who are you going to buy the groceries from? What
Taking their
money will
groceries
you
with
use?
them. They don't know anything about
I mean,
supply
all these
chains.
people, like,
Where to
I'm
get
sure
their
a sign of someone did not grow up
groceries.
working class is often how they drop the term.
Yeah, go do one of your urban
That's a great spot for me to end
rooftop
this video.
farms
I hope you are. Hope you have a wonderful day.
with
We'll talk to you
compost made out of socialist poop. Amazing.
And as expected, the Raiders will go for two and try and win.
Another positive news. Jaguars kicker Cam Little
Raiders make the 2-point conversion.
broke and reset the NFL record for longest field goal.
It's going to come down to one play from the 2-yard line. What drama here in Las Vegas?
Everyone's acting like this is a great Jaguars victory.
2-yard line, the 2-point conversion attempt.
Windhurst then? Windhurst what now? There's a town in New Jersey called Lyndhurst. Every time I drive by it, I see the sign for it, I think of Windhurst. expect to see a bunch of Mithra and Taru running around. There's a car explosion in the Bronx. What's going on? Oh, apparently it says, I see the sign for it. I think of Windhurst. I got recommended my own stream. I'm hitting the like. Taru running around. Look at that guy. Poor guy. He has no likes. I moved my microphone away. Actually, that sounds pretty good. Good way to sound check myself.
Nearly 1 million New Yorkers have said they're leaving now that Mamdani is mayor.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
What?
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
He just declared war on the entire country.
Makes sense. Here in New York, 1% of the population pays 48% of the income tax. Capital
those are the
goes where
people
it's
who are
treated
leaving.
best. If he is going to pay for all these handouts by taxing the wealthy, people are going to leave.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take
They
a
have
lot to completely upset the balance of payments here in New York City because, again, 1%.
They've
You
already said they're
antagonize a
leaving.
quarter.
And this is serious. Around 765,000 people who call New York City home are preparing to leave. But nobody's talking about the real reasons he won.
First Muslim mayor of New York, first Democratic Socialist, first mayor to win more than 1 million votes in, 3 decades, youngest mayor in more than a century. So what is the message and the mandate behind that?
The message is about transforming the most expensive city in the United States of America into one that's affordable.
Well, let's dig into that, because you're talking about a rent freeze, you're talking about...
No, don't gloss over that. The rent freeze. This is big news. There are approximately 1 million rent-stabilized apartments in New York City. And did you hear how many votes? He got over 1 million votes. And there's over 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. And he just told all of those people that if you vote for me, your rent will never go up again. And that is a very smart way in a city like this to run an affordability campaign. Convince people that you're going to save them thousands of dollars. Doesn't matter if that comes at the expense of the rest of the city and all the people that own stuff here. You guarantee yourself those votes.
Can you do that without raising taxes?
I think you can do that, and I think you have to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers who make more than $1 million a year, and you do that by raising taxes by them 2%. And then you also increase the corporate tax of New York State to match that of New Jersey. So that takes us from about 7.25 to about 11.5%, which is what we see in New Jersey. These things together raise about $9 billion, which
If
more
those
than
people
pays for our
stay.
economic agenda and also starts to Trump-proof our city.
But are you worried that could drive a lot of job creators out of New York?
So what I've heard from a number of business leaders is that the affordability crisis is also affecting their ability to attract and retain
That's
talent.
what we always hear. Whenever we've got some sort of punishment solution that's coming down the pipe that we know is going to drive away the people who make the money, we always hear, well,
there we go.
Actually, they think it's a good thing. Like, you've heard it. We've all heard it.
You said that President Trump was watching you last night. It appears that he was watching you. And it also appears that he and other Republicans are trying to make you the poster boy of the Democratic Party. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, calls...
He's done that for himself, and I don't mean that as an insult. But here's the implication of all of this. If we've got a Democratic socialist
there we go.
as the mayor of New York,
fix the mic. Again, I was cooking too.
As a sanctuary city.
Hit the like button if you love Windurst.
New York City mayoral race. Here's a
Whatever I was saying.
Who do you think's moving to New York?
Lost my train of thought.
Who's actually moving?
Yeah, good question.
That are moving out. 756,000 families are definitely thinking about moving out.
Gotta keep an eye on the auxiliary.
Moving to New York City.
What I was saying, if I can remember all of it, is
but you know what type of people?
He's going to tax the rich. The rich, they're going to call the rich people in a certain tax bracket. So if you have a husband and a wife, you make $100,000 a year. They could fall into that. Despite their cost of living, eating into that yearly earnings they make.
No.
These companies are going to leave. They're going to take advantage of loopholes.
Second Amendment, safety, low taxes are going to be moving to New York City? No.
No.
But who will be moving to New York City? If you're a criminal, it's a great time to move to New York City.
Oh.
Think about it. He wants to let people out of prison. Guess what? I'm not telling you to move there, but it's a great policy. If you're somebody that doesn't want to work at all,
this is bad.
And you just want
Yeah, he wants to close Rikers Island. Rikers Island does have its problems, from what I understand.
Opportunity to move to New York City.
Great.
If you're an illegal immigrant, are you kidding me? Like this is heaven for you.
This almost means that people who do not align with the direction of the city and who will be punished for sticking around have to go and will be traded for folks who do agree with what's going to happen here, which very well may mean Mr. Mamdani is two-term mayor.
This is heaven for you.
Egg, cabbage, carrot.
Move to New York City.
I gotta make colored eggs after this synth.
That's crazy.
So I think New York City is about to have a net migration increase, not decrease.
1, 2, 3.
They're not going to lose people. It's about to increase. Let me tell you what
4.
type of people are going to move there. All of those people we just talked about. FYI, I'm Armenian and a Syrian. You know when Armenians left Iran or Lebanon or Armenia, where they moved to? Glendale. And we all moved because we felt safer there. You know what type of people are going to move to New York City? People who are democratic socialists, people who are Muslims. I would feel safe there if he's the mayor. And people who are wanting entitlement program.
But how are those people going to afford it here? There's only 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. You see, that's the problem. There's 1 million of those apartments. And
Rent stabilized.
They're not just sitting out there for somebody who can't afford market rent to show up and rent for themselves and move into. I guess you could have people living in maybe in shelters. New York City has a habit of building shelters when large numbers of people show up, seemingly out of nowhere. This could be bad.
I mean, this is a guy who does embrace Marxist economics. He claims he's going to lower everyone's costs by having the government run grocery stores, and the only
pretty much out of
Gill
Gill.
That would work are people who have never studied a lick of history. He's
A
also
lick of history.
That after 9/11, he said how bad it was that his aunt was on a subway and got dirty looks. He never expressed the sympathy in that regard that for all the people that got murdered. He's also embraced George Soros style soft on crime policies. He hates the NYPD. If you look at his history, he is not going to stand up for law
I
enforcement.
think everybody hates the
That's something
NYPD.
that a lot of people are worried about because not only have
Who
we
does
had
love the
our share of
NYPD?
progressive policies here in New York, those policies have all pushed for less resources for police, for lower rates of incarceration, for more criminals to get released and set free. And what do we think the socialist is going to do when he gets in and has already said that he's not a big fan of having too many police?
What you're seeing in New York City with Mamdani, that is the future. A party that believes in no bail, a party that believes in no jail, a party that believes in
Artisan.
no borders.
Bad
But
news.
here's one group they do want to put in jail. They're political enemies. Like good commies, they will not arrest their criminals. They won't arrest their gang members, but they will arrest their political opposition.
Good
That's how
commies.
society dies, Sean. That's what we're up against. now.
Valerian's
And that's a
apron.
fascinating statement to look at in light of all
Artisan.
the
What am I
political
now?
violence
Journeyman?
that
I am
has
journeyman,
happened
right?
recently in America, and that has come from the left side of American politics, isn't it? Could we see some very odd
shit.
changes? Could we
Craftsman.
see political state-sponsored persecutions of the mayor's enemies? I hope not.
Oh, crime. Have you convinced
They need-
Commissioner Tisch to stay on the police commissioner?
You know,
Artisan.
I've made my decision to retain Commissioner Tisch, and I've done so because Eric Adams had stacked the upper echelons of the NYPD with
Craftsman.
incompetence and corruption. She came in, started to tackle that,
Artisan
deliver accountability,
is
and
apron.
reduce crime
Okay,
across
so
the
next
5
one is
boroughs.
Artisan.
That is what we would build upon under a Mamdani administration, in addition
Level
to creating
68.
a Department of Community Safety to tackle the mental health and homelessness crisis head on.
So the Department of Community Safety, guess what?
I have a
Money
lot
doesn't
of lizard
grow
eggs.
on trees. And you've only got money for, education,
Mhm.
you've got healthcare, you've got the fire department, you've got the police, and now we're going to add in another agency, but we've got to divide up the money that we already have, the budgets that we already have. And guess where the money for the Department of Community Safety, who are not going to be police, where do you think that's going to come from? You think that's going to come from the schools? You think that's going to come from the fire
No
department? No,
way.
of course not. That's going to come from the police.
Law enforcement. And what I found on all this, Sean, is yes, his tax policy is going to be crazy,
Mhm.
anti-business, all that. But the number one thing that moves people to want to flee these jurisdictions is the collapse of public safety.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I think
totally,
he's going
man.
to make the de Blasio reign look like the golden age.
Ron DeSanctimonious.
I'm talking about a math
Yeah, if it's unsafe, you're gonna have to
New York
leave.
City, New York State.
If my wife gets robbed when she's at the supermarket in front of the kids, that's going to be devastating. That's going to be a major wake-up call. If
I
there's
agree.
crime happening near the school that my kids go to, and that crime affects parents that
Mhm.
are dropping off their kids or picking their kids up, I mean, these are some real things that people are going to have to take into account. And if they start seeing them, families are going to be the first ones out.
And the people that it tends to drive off are the center-right voters.
There you go.
And so when they leave, the resulting electorate is actually more liberal.
Right.
That's how you go from Lori Lightfoot to Brandon Johnson in Chicago,
Thank you.
which is digging the hole deeper. That's why you've gone from 8 years of de
Yep.
Blasio, now leapfrogging here 4, to have Mamdani,
Mhm.
who's even going to be worse. And what we found in Florida is, first
I
of
gotta
all,
sell these eggs.
we're not asking for anyone to move. I mean, people have talked about putting a tariff on people moving in at
The
this
Texas
point, 'cause
governor
so many
said
have
that.
done so, and I know a lot of people.
But that's a great point. As you force out people who have a problem with crime, the only folks left are the criminals. And who are they going to vote for?
Yep.
Of course, they're going to vote for more of what's bringing about the
Mhm.
destruction of their society because they think it's a good thing.
The red states are anticipating an influx of New Yorkers coming to
Yeah.
the states, and the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, has threatened to slap a 100% tariff on any
Oh.
Mamdani refugees. He tweeted, after the polls close tomorrow
Realistically, you could say this is
impose
Trump's
100%
fault.
tariff
This is a
on anyone
backlash.
moving
This
to
happens
Texas
every
or
election
New York
cycle.
City. New York Post
That's
took this
crazy.
seriously. I'm sure he's joking. But states like Texas and Florida are going to be the beneficiaries of this exodus out of New York.
Well, only if the people who leave don't vote the same way they did when they were living in New York, because that's what gets us these sanctuary mayors. That's what gets us all
The
of
one
these
rice dumpling.
problems is
I'll keep
people
that.
voting for it, thinking
crab dance?
that it's a good idea.
No.
Well, a little bit of socialism, no big deal. City-run grocery store over here, a few less police over here. What's the big deal? And before you know it, the streets are so unsafe. People can't live here. Look, I hope the mayor of this city doesn't do what he said he's going to do because
wait,
he's
I've been-
essentially declared
oh, wait,
war
who has Zolkeen?
on prosperity. It's kind of
Pandoria
sad. I don't
does.
think he's an
Okay.
idiot. He's very smart. He's articulate. He ran a fantastic campaign. He actually absolutely blew everybody else out of the water. I guess the only hope that comes from that is you see somebody like that and you say, man, I hope that perhaps the way that they go about doing things changes from the way that those things have been sold, right? I mean, these are
There'll be no
politicians.
milk.
I guess the only thing we can hope here is that the way that a lot of this was billed and sold to the people who were going to go vote is going to be different than how it works out in practice. That's what I happen to hope anyways. What do you think about all of this? Do you think we're going to have more sanctuary mayors like this in other cities and states across the country? Is this going to affect the president?
What's going to happen is these sanctuary cities, Texas and Florida and these other states are going to dump their illegals under their, right on their lap. It's okay. You want to be a sanctuary city, yet not even on being a border state? We're going to send them to you. That's how it's going to go.
Driving Gen Z with hopes and dreams of free stuff, driving them to the polls. But like
Free
most
stuff,
of us,
Mamdani.
we learned at a young age there's no such thing as free. Somebody else has to pay for it. And as the saying goes, the problem with socialism, that eventually you run out of other people's money. It's exactly what mom and pop landlords are worried about. Mondani's housing
Socialism, you run out of other people's money.
And dry up all the funds. Small landlords are already reeling from higher inflation, steeper mortgage rates, not being able to raise rents to keep up with rising costs, maybe the nail in the coffin. That means no money for renovations, improvements, or expansion.
What do we think? Any New York City residents out there? Zoran Mamdani went full Nazi. I don't believe that. He didn't go full Nazi. That's how you make a thumbnail, though. Tim Fool made it look like Mamdani's doing the Nazi salute, and he's not. People just doing this and waving is... People have been doing that for 1,000 years. Before and after Hitler, it's not a Nazi salute. And to say it is, you're just getting tired and stupid. This guy's cool.
People in my comments literally crashing out about Mondami. Like, I know you're not New Yorkers. I know you're not. Like, you guys are from whatever bumblefuck flower state you moved to New York to get and now you're out here thinking you have see, you guys are so naive. You're so naive about gang violence in New York. You want to defund the police. You have no idea what that even means. You think the subways are bad now? You think people are getting set on fire now? Just wait. Real New Yorkers know what the city looks like and feels like when it's bad. And with Mondami, it's going to get bad. But you know what? You
I don't know why it would get bad with Mamdani. Like, the criminals are going to get more criminally.
You think it's arty. You think it's cute. You think, like, it's a movie set, a backdrop. It's not. It's real. And
I am perplexed. I am genuinely perplexed.
Do I have any low-level jobs for a Gelsba Outpost party? This is getting old.
This guy. What is wrong with New York? Y'all have a melting pot of crazies over in that city.
I could do Red Mage or
8 million
Thief.
People in a city, and you're telling me that this guy has over a
Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
$4 million or 4 million people at the minimum supporting him, and he's basically about to wash the city in a landslide. I couldn't even believe the plan. And then when I started to research him and I started to figure out who he is, and then I pulled up his rap videos from his old rap name.
Oh, man.
I said, come on, bro. I started
Look,
doing a lot deeper.
if you're not Eminem and you're not black, don't rap. I'm not interested. I don't want to hear it.
Had a real job in his entire life. And he
I
was
can't
a
take
rapper,
Chinese rap
and the next thing
seriously.
you know, he shows up. He's
There is
an
Mandarin,
immigrant
Mando,
from another
pop,
country,
rap, and I
and
can't
next thing
get
you know,
into
it's a
it. It just
possibility for him to win
seems
mayor of
like
New York. Y'all
posing,
had to
faking, pick your word. I can't stand it.
You had to have better options. And see, this is the type of thing that really crashes a city, because the great city of New York is about to go down. I mean, y'all already
New York's not going down. It's going to be
I mean, you down. But now
shitty. I don't know why people think with one mayor is it going to make crime go up.
catastrophic socialist.
It might incentivize people with criminal activities to think, hey, I'm not going to get in trouble.
To become a mayor. And then if you look and you see the people that's actually supporting him, then you can really see why New York is blue. It's similar to why Los Angeles is blue also. And it's like, ain't y'all tired? Ain't y'all tired of getting y'all ass kicked and not having clean streets and people burning up on the subways and for it to not be safe?
Burning up on the subways.
Ain't y'all tired of this nonsense? No? and you asking for more of it. And so I think that we're just about to witness
Check my phone.
one of the biggest collapses in liberal history. In liberal history, and he's talking about raising taxes when the majority of people that pay the most taxes are the people that you're trying to raise taxes on. And so now they're acting like the mismanagement from the government, both local and federal, is not about to be at historic proportions. Y'all got a shortage of police officers, and he's talking about basically defunding the police to have community groups respond to. So, man, what the? Y'all about to be in deep doo-doo this time. Deep doo-doo.
It's going to get real for y'all, but have fun.
You're in big doo-doo this time.
Let Zohran Mamdani win mayor of New York City. If New Yorkers want to be led under a socialist, far-left, progressive, radical regime, have at it. But for some of you, I'm going to give you some highlights because I know y'all just be voting whatever. Vote Democrat, vote Republican. You do no research. So just some highlights, some things for you guys to contemplate. Zohran Mamdani has been a United States citizen for less than 10 years. So my first question is, how is he even able to run? But that's neither here nor there. He has some mandates. First mandate, he wants government-run grocery stores. He wants the government to run your grocery stores. So like if there's another government shutdown and the government runs the grocery stores, where do you get your food from? I'm just throwing that out there for you. He also
Southern Sandoria, Zilkim,
that's in their playbook.
K9.
You already know.
Over here.
He wants to replace some police officers with social workers. So when you call 911 because something's going down, you might get a social worker. If you're cool with that, have at it.
That'd be nice. Somebody's getting stabbed. They're going to call a social worker.
There's free stuff for people. He's one of those guys that he wants free this, free that. Remember, I told you, all know that nothing free. Somebody's going to pay for that on the back end. It's probably going to be you. So let's talk about some of the other candidates, shall we? You probably, if you're an early millennial, Gen Z, you probably don't know who Curtis Sliwa is. I'm going to tell you, but first let's talk about
He's
Cuomo.
a Republican, if I'm not
We
mistaken.
know Cuomo, right? He was the governor during 2020 and the whole situation, and his resume piss poor. You cannot be the governor. You cannot be the mayor. You were a horrible governor. My personal opinion. And I am sure that most people are like, not that guy again. Absolutely not. We have no other options. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Curtis Sliwa. Google him. He started this organization back in the 80s called the Guardian.
Curtis Sliwa would be legit.
And they were
It's getting better than the
24/7 because the subways were not safe by then. They're not like they are now. They were not as bad.
the Guardian Angels.
And police
Like
officers
legit
just
tough
were not
guys. New York City tough guys. You remember the mobsters.
Guardian Angels down there in the crew.
Okay,
He
don't
has
fuck
been a
up. I don't know why my mic wants to keep
and
disconnecting.
invested in New York City since the 80s.
I don't know if it's my USB connection
I did some
on the
research
computer
on
tower or
because
what.
I did a live stream. I think it was maybe a couple weeks.
I'm gonna sell this
I did a
shit
live
rings. I'm tired of dealing with it.
And I was trying to figure out why they kept skipping over him and just going straight to Cuomo and Mamdani, and they let them argue when he was sitting up there being the most professional, and he was like, "Yo, why aren't you guys actually asking me questions?" And he's in last
That's the thing.
place.
Like these debates
they
are
don't
not are
take him
structured so
serious,
the
and it looks
the odd
like,
man, the one that nobody
based off of his
expects,
life's
doesn't do
work
well.
and his principles and his policies of what he stands on, that he would be the best option. But it
Oh, I
is a
should have done this
popularity
earlier.
contest. And so now you see all of the Democrats basically, they pressured Hakeem Jeffries to throw their support behind him. And you see all of the Democrats basically jumping on the bandwagon and trying to be a part of the Cool Who's Who club, and then eventually try to get this guy to I'm
Part of the
assuming
what?
probably run for president of the United States of America. It's bad. They're grasping for straws at this point.
Well, for me, I'm born and raised in New York. If I still live there, I'd be voting for him. I don't even know if he's a Democrat or Republican, to be honest. All I know is I know him.
Yep.
I know his reputation. I know he cares about New York City. And that's who I want to be my mayor. But again, you guys do your
Always
research.
go the wrong direction.
Let me know down in the comments. Do you want Cuomo again on a smaller scale? Do you want Mamdani after you've Googled what I've told you to Google, or do you want Curtis Sliwa? I just want to know where you guys are at. But again, no foul, no harm, no shame. If you guys want
No
to
harm,
be
no
led
shame.
under a socialist,
Lady.
far left, progressive, radical environment.
I want people that make TikToks know how to spell. Make spelling great again.
Because I don't know where your food would come from. And farmers are, some
How's
of
this?
them are kind of run by the
Can you
government.
all hear
You know,
me?
they get their funding kind of gets messed around with if they don't, you know, whatever.
It's just bad. It's bad. Like, under
Yeah.
no circumstances,
Completely.
I don't care how well spoken. And he's well spoken.
Mhm.
He is endorsed by AOC. He's endorsed by Bernie Sanders. And if it doesn't get any more extreme left socialist than Bernie Sanders, I mean, at this point, they trying to talk about universal basic income and completely take it away. Anything capitalistic, and you can work your ass off, and then you just gonna be taxed to the hilt more than 50%.
UBI isn't a terrible idea.
You know what tax bracket that you in?
The money has to come from somewhere, but it's not terrible.
Of your income is going to
I was an Andrew Yang guy in 2020. But the media treated him like shit, didn't take him seriously.
to be ran by a person
Treated like the
never had a
caricature smart Asian guy
their
that
entire life. And
like
I
he was some
watched
kind
the
of
debate,
joke.
and everybody was trying to act like he washed Cuomo, and I absolutely disagreed, because I guess if you're going for finesse, then
Mhm.
yeah, he probably won. If you go by substance, which I don't really care for Cuomo, if you're going by substance and what a real plan is no way in hell you can actually vote for this guy. But let me know what y'all think inside. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. T Chanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna holler at you guys later. Peace.
At the same time, we could put B1 up on the screen. This is how
Hey, it's
Zoran was
Crystal and
closing out his
Sagar.
campaign while Andrew Cuomo was threatening New Yorkers. Here you have Zoran walking across the Brooklyn Bridge and, you know, out of the clubs, dancing with everybody and being out and about with taxi drivers and really just trying to be, you know, in the streets with the people. At the same time, you had Hakeem Jeffries, you know, continuing to be asked about.
I honestly don't want to know who my local politicians. I don't even know who my mayor is. You almost don't want to know these things. NYC is cooked. Election after. NYC is fucked. Oh, jeez. Come on, people. So stupid. Lady looks like a crackhead. Consumer
The reason
recession
why
is
Fed
already
Chair
here.
Powell didn't want to commit to a December rate cut yesterday is pretty simple. A number of the FOMC committee members aren't yet convinced the weak labor market really is that weak. Sure, the numbers don't look good. There's a couple negatives in there.
Changing characters
but they don't
again.
see enough to suggest that it's actually real. Well, Chipotle and Kraft Heinz would like to answer them with a pair of very serious
Chipotle.
warnings about the state of the consumer economy. Now, Chipotle's shares fell by the most since 2012 as a result of
They
the
have been
earnings,
using
more importantly,
citing
the
like fast food purchases
the company's CEO, Scott Boatwright, just
as
said
an
bluntly,
economic
quote,
indicator,
"The
which is
consumer
fair.
slowdown is really affecting our business in a meaningful way." And then he
McDonald's
added
talk
that,
about how it's
quote,
not
"The
affordable
majority is a
anymore."
massive
Guy,
pullback,
owner
a
of
massive
McDonald's.
pullback of our core audience. And the company confirmed that millennials and Gen Z, they're simply suffering from unemployment and paycheck shrinkage.
Wow.
Food giant Kraft Heinz echoed the same sentiment and then some. That company's CEO also didn't mince words when he said, quote, "We have now one of the worst consumer sentiments we have seen in decades as we go into the holiday season." And that's also what consumers themselves have said, and also what Americans have said they're being forced to do before even getting
There you
to
go,
the holiday.
Gordon. Take that
The
money.
Conference Board earlier in the week reported on their dismal holiday spending plans, which goes way beyond just Christmas. It's what the board said about non-holiday spending that really sticks out. So some of the inflationists at the FOMC see negative jobs numbers and they think, well, these aren't huge negatives, and there are a couple positives scattered around too, so maybe it's all just a big nothing. After all, the stock market
Big nothing.
and
I'm a big
trade
nothing.
deals. Now, unlike tariff inflation, The evidence for the flat beverage curve, and more importantly, the consequences of the flat beverage curve, continues to pile up. While Jay Powell did not want to commit to a December rate cut today, history shows the choice is not his to make. Pringles ruled interest rates, not Powell.
Here we go.
What Fed Chair Powell said at his press conference yesterday not only sums up the views, or really just the suspicions of a number of FOMC committee members, especially Kansas City's Jeff Schmidt, who outright dissented against the rate cut. What Powell said actually states for a lot of people who are mesmerized by the stock market.
I got 5 views,
what they're
5
thinking
concurrent
too.
viewers, 4 likes. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like
For some part
button.
of the committee, it's time to maybe take a step back and see whether there really are downside risks to the labor market, or see whether in fact
Are you
the
cutting back on
stronger growth that
Chipotle
we're
and
seeing
McDonald's?
is real. And so there's this constant tendency to downplay or dismiss the bad economy and the numbers that go along with it. Economists kept derisively calling criticism of the economy over the last couple of years as a vibe session, even as all the evidence had shown the weakness was not only real, the very real consequences weren't limited to strictly the macroeconomic context. I mean, start with Chipotle. The chain put up yet another ugly quarter from one of younger America's favorites.
I think
so many
the thrill of Chipotle wore off. That's part of it.
Younger generations because their strategies don't fit with the mainstream narrative. The economy is booming.
The Chipotle has gotten more expensive.
You wonder why socialism is so popular, especially among those generations.
Chipotle is not that great. You feel like you're getting something special. You can make that same shit at home.
They've been told the economy is awesome. I mean, just look at everyone getting rich on tech stocks and Bitcoin. And everywhere people look, that's the message.
Unfortunately, the reality, economic reality is a lot of families can't afford healthy food is actually expensive, like organic food that is maybe not organic but not loaded with crap and artificial and really fatty and bad for you. Good food is expensive food. The cheap stuff is horrible for you. And people that are in a hurry with, gotta pick up the kids from daycare, go home, do homework, give kids a bath, they don't have time to make a meal because they just got out of work. And they can't afford the meal supplies. So they're buying McDonald's, they're buying Chipotle.
Give me something else. That's the message, and that's also the answer. This is not the best that capitalism and free markets have to offer. So stop saying the economy is booming and start getting to work fixing it. Stop listening to the inflationists over at the FOMC who are like, what's the big deal with a little bit of job losses? And start listening to people and companies like Chipotle when they tell you this is not a healthy economy.
I don't know where that came from.
Before we go on with our video today, let me ask you a question. What if your gold could actually pay you every single month in more gold? That's what today's video sponsor, Monetary Metals, lets you do. And here's how it works. You still own the gold. It's still in your name. It's fully insured. But instead of just sitting there doing nothing, it actually starts
That's the
working
problem.
for
People
you.
like
Monetary Metals has built a system that turns
people shouldn't be
gold
buying
into
these things.
productive
I was
gold, earning
when
real
I first started
yield,
commuting
paid
after college. I think like in a week, or I was like addicted to those Dunkin' Donuts frozen hot chocolates in the summertime.
It's a simple idea, but
I gave you ads. I'm sorry.
Problem. If gold is money, it should act like money, and now it finally can.
And
if you're a long-term gold holder looking for a smarter
like buying
way to store
Dunkin' Donuts
value,
like several times a
check them out
week,
at
and it got really expensive.
Snyder. Again, that's monetary-metals.com.
You feel like you're saving money. It's like, oh, this special deal. Buy this, get a cup of coffee, get a donut with it for $5.99, but it adds up.
We thank Monetary Metals for their sponsorship, but now let's get back to the rest of our video. So what happened this morning?
No, I don't want to
Chipotle
log out.
Mexican
Don't log out.
shares plummeted after the fast casual chain cut its outlook for the third time this year as diners pulled back from eating out, a fresh warning sign for consumer spending. The burrito chain now sees sales for the full year slipping in the low single-digit range from a year earlier.
Are you able to skip the ads? What ads are you getting, just out of curiosity?
Already a downgrade there. And in the third quarter,
Since there's no
comparable store
election
sales
anymore,
rose slightly, but still fell short of
election
Wall Street's
day's over.
expectations. And according to CEO Scott Boatwright, as I said, the consumer slowdown is really affecting our business.
Oh, what do I need now? I need dark crystals.
It's clear where this economy is really coming down hard. As always, it's the lowest income cohorts. They blame inflation, but that's not really the issue here.
Dark
It's always
crystals.
jobs and incomes. Before this year, that had meant not enough income growth to keep up with price changes from during the supply shock. Not enough jobs either, by the way. This year, though, there's the added negative of outright negative jobs on top of everything else. Even if it isn't an overwhelming flood of layoffs, does anyone rationally believe that somehow makes it meaningfully better? The economic damage is still being done and it's still piling up. And with fewer jobs and job opportunities, consumers have to keep pulling back a little here and a little more there, and it just adds
Oh,
up.
I'm not playing it. These ads are just
People
automatic.
notice. They feel it. You say, so what if they can't buy an extra burrito bowl? What's the big deal? It's that in an actually healthy economy, so many people wouldn't have to cut back like that. In pure macroeconomic terms, this completely flies in the face of the idea that's put forward by the stock market. And up until recently, Mr. J. Powell himself, even if certain members of the FOMC today aren't fully convinced. Notice, however, as I pointed out yesterday, for all the bluster over not being sure, they all voted, save one guy, for the rate cut anyway. So while the FOMC might not be sure the economy really is weak, what's left mostly unsaid is that even the inflationists know more likely than not it actually is. They just want a little bit more proof. So let's go back to Chipotle, or in this case, Bloomberg's summary of the chain's plight. At Chipotle, the
Thanks, Anthony. What's going on, man? How are you? I did a cooking stream earlier. You missed it.
Lower-income consumers were particularly strained. About 40% of the company's customers come from households that make less than $100K, and that income cohort is significantly cut back on eating out.
I should do a stream playing this game in my kitchen as I try to unlock the apron.
About lack of income being able to pay for price changes. Boatwright said that customers in the late 20s and early 30s are, quote, particularly challenged due to
how's life at the
student loan debt and slower
Fiddlers? How are they treating you over there?
In political terms,
guys feeling the economy an issue over there? You guys losing members?
At my own peril. Stop denying their struggles and start trying to understand them. Go beyond just the macro.
How's Harry? How's Chef? How's Matt? Everybody good?
Beyond. And it
how are you? How's the wife?
Kraft
How's the family? How's the kids?
Lower third quarter sales and cut its full year outlook, citing worsening consumer sentiment and buyer resistance to food inflation. Quote, we now have one of the worst consumer sentiments we have seen in decades as we go into the holiday season. That's according to Kraft Heinz CEO in a company earnings.
Oh, hit the like button, everybody. I got 4 likes. Get me to 5 likes.
Longer than we had originally expected, because they all expected it would be about just tariffs and
61. We're done making this synth.
In the third quarter, net
even
sales
though I
for
just
the
bought a
company's
bunch of
North
dark
America
crystals.
division
You
fell
jerk off.
3.8%. And the company also said it's facing impacts from ingredient inflation, particularly for meat and coffee. It wasn't just sales that fell. Volumes dropped too, further explaining why, first of all, the labor market is weak, and second of all, there is not now, nor will there be, tariff inflation. Are you...
Look at this. In the third quarter, net sales for the company's North American division. The company said it's also facing impacts from ingredient inflation, particularly meat and coffee. Chipotle does coffee? You want a cup of coffee and you're going to Chipotle, you're going to the wrong place. Like, who the fuck is going to Chipotle for coffee? I need a cup of coffee. Let me stop in Chipotle and get one. On the stream, I made a fried eggplant rounds. I took the eggplant and you cut it into quarters. So eggplant quarters and a sauce called Yushing sauce, which is a Chinese style sauce. Like a brown cooking wine, vinegar, soy sauce with garlic in it. A Chinese cooking sauce. So it was eggplant stewed in that. I made stuffed peppers. It's rice with cubed up green and yellow squash with like a little bit of marinara sauce mixed in. Roasted peppers, like bell red, yellow, green peppers. When you get them roasted, they smell really good. Chipotle has other brands. What brands do they have? I'm not surprised. I just don't know what else they own. Oh, finally, I can make an easy synth now. I feel like I should just keep making this. An NPC, it makes some money back. What else does Chipotle own?
Listening, everybody on the FOMC. Companies are being impressed by rising costs, but are finding that if they even bother trying to pass them on to customers, volumes drop. That's the opposite from inflation. And even acknowledging this economic reality, Kraft Heinz CEO further added, quote, while the operating environment remains challenging, we're seeing improvement driven in part by targeted investments.
Chipotle was owned by McDonald's? I didn't know that.
And affordable products to
Nishi, did you see the movie about McDonald's, the founder?
Affordable. An economy
With Batman,
where
I mean,
companies
Michael
have to
Keaton.
constantly figure out how to make what they make.
It's a really good movie.
affordable is not one that's in good shape. In most cases,
The
especially for
McDonald's
smaller
brothers
firms,
basically got
making things
screwed by
affordable
this guy
means
named Ray
trimming
Kroc.
costs, which means trimming workers.
But I guess it's kind of their
The more
loss. They didn't have a
businesses
big
make
vision.
goods
They didn't
and
think big like he
services,
did.
Not just goods. The more they try to make goods and services more affordable, the more unemployment there's going to be. The more they have to try to make everything even more affordable than before. leading
check
to
it
still
out,
more
The Founder.
unemployment, and the
It's a
economy
really
and the
good
labor
movie.
market gets stuck in a perpetual vibe session downturn. All the while stocks soar, American workers
McDonald's for
rightly
10
go
years? Oh,
bitter
so you
with
probably know the whole
resentment,
story.
and the younger ones start believing in the bullshit spouted by socialists. After all, younger Americans can actually see the bullshit about this economy. Right now, there is far more credibility as far as a lot
You
of
know
young
way
people
too
are
much
concerned
McLore. Oh,
than
that's
the
beautiful, Nishi. I
socialist
love
side.
that. Thanks for that.
Economy
McLore.
divided against itself just
I remember as a
will
little
not
kid
stand.
when I was like
Eventually,
5. There was
it'll
these
start to
toys they
succumb
came out with. It was like
to the
make
fallacies of
McDonald's at home.
And all of this just
And for
in time
Christmas, I wanted one. I
Christmas.
saw in like the J.C.
If there's
Penney's
one
catalog, the whole kit, the
it's that
milkshake
Americans
maker,
have
the
been
hamburger
consistent
maker.
all year in their
My
assessment
parents
of
got
the
me
economy, and
the
especially
non-expensive
coming
one,
from the
which is
labor
fine.
market. And what's equally
It was the
important
French
in terms
fry
of
maker.
sentiment,
You take like a
it's
piece
that
of like
consumers'
bread and you
views
roll
are
it through and it
vastly
comes out in
diverged
strips.
from
I was like,
stock.
I'm having
Share
McDonald's,
prices
and it
are
was
at
just
some
strips
share
of bread. It
indexes
cuts
that
up
soar
for you,
from
and
the bottom
a
and
piece of
negative,
plastic with
as if the
McDonald's
trade war was
logo
only
that cuts
macroeconomic
bread into
negative, yet
strips. I
consumer
wish I still had that
confidence,
for
which
my
had
daughter.
initially plunged with stocks into April, only
No,
came
my
back
first
a little
words
bit
were
from those
Donald's
lows,
Coke
and then spent the
fries.
summer doing
So McDonald's
exactly what
Coke
the
fries.
CEOs of Chipotle and Kraft Heinz have said. I don't think people really
I
appreciate
love
how
McDonald's.
dismal
That's
that
just
has
an
become
iconic brand. I
and
love
how
the logo.
widespread it really is.
It's
The
been a
conference board's
Coca-Cola
findings
account
from earlier
forever.
This week really should have been a wake-up call, but the new highs in the stock market overwhelm
McDonald's
every
stuff
last
is
bit
awesome.
of common sense. After all, I mean, the AI bubble is far more fun and alluring.
I have it behind me. I
Not
still
only
have
did
a
they say
couple of the
American
Beanie Babies they
expectations
gave
are
away. The
deeply in
little
recession territory,
Happy
their
Meal
holiday
Beanie
spending
Babies.
plans have been
A couple of them had the
worse
tag
than
on them still,
shelved,
but they're probably
according
worthless
to the
because Beanie
conference
Babies
board.
crashed.
Preliminary data suggests that consumers' holiday spending will be down this season compared to last year. Notably, consumers expect to spend a whopping 3.9% less on gifts and an even worse 12% less on non-gifts. And all of those are just in nominal terms, which means it's even worse in terms of
McDonald's
volume.
had Disney. That's
When
right.
asked what will be driving their spending decisions over the upcoming holidays, consumers most frequently cited
I
promotions.
know it's not good
and
for you,
getting the
but I
most
don't mind
out
once
of
in a
every
while
dollar.
having
These
a
are not signs
McDonald's
of a healthy
meal
economy.
or a
In
Burger
addition
King
to
meal.
promotions, consumers also indicated that they will be likely buying fewer goods if the price of imported items is inflated by tariffs. And we already know that most retailers, the vast majority, are thinking in exactly the same way. We know that because of what they're doing,
McDisney,
or
that's
in this case,
awesome.
what they're not doing. They refuse to announce any plans to
I remember,
hire
so I was
seasonal
born in
workers.
Florida, and
That's how confident they are
I
in the
attended
consumer
public
economy,
school in
and the fact
Florida
that the
from
job
K
market
through
number
like halfway
might
through
not
second
be
grade.
real enough for the
And they would have
FOMC.
school assemblies where Ronald
According to
McDonald would
Challenger
come
Gray
and,
Christmas at the start of this month,
you know,
right when
perform on
seasonal hiring
stage.
should have been ramping up, it was instead almost entirely absent. It was shockingly absent.
And when he would go to
Number
the
of planned
stores in
hires
other
tracked by
towns.
Challenger was just
That's
about
awesome.
1/4 of what it had been at the same point last year. 1/4, 25%. And as I said when the
I'm gonna
data
quit
came
my
out,
job
some
and work at
retailers
McDonald's.
they'll end up hiring some of the people
Not
before
really.
the season's out. But the fact that almost none of them were willing to commit and announce their commitments earlier in the year showed you everything you
No,
needed to
people
know
love
about
wearing
how
name
retailers
brands
are
like that.
leaning
Like
as far as the
name, not like a
all-important Christmas season is
Gucci name
concerned.
brand, but like
Retailers are gravely
of
concerned.
a
Same as Kraft Heinz CEO.
name
Remember
known
what he
brand
said
like
was,
that. People
"We
get
now have
jealous.
one of the worst consumer sentiments we've
Like
seen in
Coke. If you work for
decades
when I
as we
work for
go into the
Coca-Cola, I got
holiday
a bunch
season."
of like
But tell
shirts
that
and
to a
hats and
minority
things that
at
were
the
not available to the
FOMC. Well,
public.
you don't need to. Reality is going to, which is why the Pringles can is in charge of interest rates, not Jay Powell, or Jay Powell's political attempt to corral enough votes at the FOMC.
So
It's
colored
not about
egg is the
December
next
rate cut or
synth.
what people think about the December rate cut
The
today.
Mick Olympics.
It's about what we're seeing across
Telling
all of these data points, including the Federal Reserve's own statistics and data and evidence on consumer expectations. It tells exactly the
It's
same
a 66
story.
cents.
FRB&Y's survey of consumer expectations showed a
Bird egg
massive
and lizard
drop in
egg.
job finding expectations for the month of August, August, which was way down to 44.9, a record low, worse than even the pandemic. But that number not only rebounded just a few points in September, from a record low, worse than the lockdowns, to just barely almost a record low equal to the lockdowns. So it didn't really get better in September. And the data mirrors what consumers have been saying, and it aligns only
What
too
is the
well with the
horizon?
government data, the
I
hard
should
data,
stay in
like
dark
the utterly
mode.
dismal JOLTS hiring estimates. There are no jobs available. That is not normal. That is not a healthy economy.
Nope.
That's not what stock
It's not.
markets are actually pricing. So some FOMC members wonder if the bad economy is real. The evidence consistently shows that it is, and then some. Now, at the end of his presser yesterday, Chair Powell did acknowledge to an extent this Pringles-flavored reality. Going off script a little bit, what he said was, quote,
Pringles-flavored reality.
If we do wind up resuming rate cuts, at some point we will.
This dude is ugly.
Point, I think we're trying to get to the end of this cycle with the labor market in a good place.
Formative guy.
On its way to 2%,
seems like genuine, down to earth, but he's just an
so that's
ugly
what we're all
dude.
trying to do, and we're doing it under quite challenging circumstances and doing the best that we can.
He's saying a lot of good
so
things.
Rates are coming down. Powell's going back into the Pringles. Neither he nor anyone else at the FOMC can say for sure right now they're willing to support doing so in December, simply because they aren't yet sure the bad economics, which keep coming up from all over the place, really are as bad as they do appear to be. Whether it's sentiment data from the Fed, holiday spending from the Conference Board, or Chipotle's, quote, the consumer slowdown is really affecting the business in a meaningful way, with a, quote, massive pullback of our core audience, there's more than enough to lean hard in that direction, toward the weakness. What's really happening here is that the remaining tariff inflation holdouts are still holding out because they will need absolutely overwhelming data. They need to see Amazon's layoffs replicated by every large company, big and small, up and down the economy, before being fully convinced. That's not just bad analysis,
right? Am I
bad
61?
Economics. The forgotten souls of the forgot how to grow economy are not going to stay forgotten forever. Their concerns are very real. It's either start understanding them, or get out of fiddle and start playing for the fire.
Savage.
One other way that this stuff in the real economy is real is because of the effect that it's having on credit markets and, to an extent, in money markets. Went over those details, the video link below. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Huge thank you, Eurodollar University members and subscribers. And until next time, take care.
Sandorian Carrot. That's Sandy, right?
Turning now to the economy, a lot of relevant news. Just going to put this up here on the screen. The CEO of Kraft Heinz has now said they have the worst consumer sentiment in decades, pointing out the drop in the number of consumers who are buying staples. They lowered their sales outlook,
I can
and
buy
that the feeling
carrots
of
here.
U.S. shoppers has fallen, quote, to a historic low. The company now expects full organic net sales to be down 3 to 3.5%, with slower growth also in emerging markets and pressure in the U.S. retail. They said that higher prices from inflation and expected headwinds from curtailed food stamp funding were creating a tough environment for U.S. shoppers, that the drop in their overall sales has led to some 17%
Just hoard food.
in their overall
It's not a bad way to go. It's the safest thing you can do.
17% rise in the S&P 500. Higher prices from inflation, food stamps, funding are all creating a, quote, tough environment, they say, for
I do have extra stuff in the garage, like
I mean,
frozen
that's really
meat.
grim. We talked previously about the McDonald's CEO. Now, I'm not saying Heinz products and McDonald's and any of that is healthy, but it's indicative of consumer sentiment of behavior. And what he was showing is like people were skipping breakfast. And I think a lot of comments were, oh, well, if they're skipping McDonald's breakfast and eating breakfast at home, then maybe that's a good thing. But there's not actually a ton of data that even necessarily shows that because of the grocery price increase. And so the fact that staples themselves have become not only more expensive, but people are deciding not to buy them, I think is one of those like edge indicators in the grocery store to say, oh man, like things are really biting.
Yeah.
Right?
People are
like
cutting
when you
back
have to
on,
cut
like,
on
ketchup.
and mustard.
Oh, don't worry, I'm on it.
By the way, how much ketchup are people
Got
eating?
plenty of
How many
rice.
times do people buy ketchup? I buy it every 6 months.
Oh,
but I don't
until
really
you
like
have
ketchup.
a toddler.
Oh,
Then
really?
You're going to see how much ketchup your household can go through. Ketchup,
Well,
I find
if you never
ketchup
give them ketchup, then they will never know.
disgusting because of what my son would like dip his apple slices in it and everything. I was like, oh, that killed any sort of appetite I ever had for ketchup. So our family has long cut back on ketchup because I refuse to use it. It's disgusting. Anyway, let's go ahead and put C2 up on the screen because it's not just
We don't have a
Heinz,
club
you
store
also have
membership. We don't need it.
Chipotle. I actually didn't even realize this.
I think
They
it's a lot
have
of.
this very
That's one thing
young,
people spend too much
customer
money on
base.
is
They
Sam's
really
Club
cater to them.
memberships.
They've been like
Sam's Club and Costco.
There's like a whole Jim Bro tie-in. Here's
And
a good
it's
way
okay
to
if you
get
do it.
lots
I'm
of
not knocking anybody who
protein
has
for
one,
relatively
especially you niche if you
inexpensive
have one.
price,
Great.
Easy,
But
relatively affordable.
Taco rice
tastes
with ketchup,
good.
that's okay, Bob.
I personally, I
You can
like
make some
Chipotle.
nice
I know
food
you're a
with
big Chipotle
ketchup.
fan, Sagar, but
I used to be, not anymore. At the current price, I'm no
Well, like
longer.
people spend all,
It's
you know,
too much.
what?
So anyway,
Sam's
they
Club,
say
you pay
millennials and Gen Zers
Sam's
have helped
Club
power
and
Chipotle sales
Costco.
despite rising menu prices and
What,
slowdown to
you
rival
pay for the
chains. In
membership
recent
monthly,
months,
right?
Though, a harsher economic reality is set in.
Like
Rising
I don't
food
need that
stagnant
much
wage
stuff.
growth,
Like
and rising health insurance costs have bumped burritos down younger consumers' priority list. They're just eating
anything
with us less
selling,
frequently,
perceived.
and they're eating at home home more often, the Chipotle CEO Scott Boatwright said in an interview. And their stock is getting trashed right now. And guess what? They're not the only ones. I mean, you have the top line of the stock market, you know, just keeps going up, up, up. That's all because of these tech stocks. NVIDIA leading the charge, but other tech stocks that are AI enabled, these sort of like consumer staple type
If our
of
politicians
companies,
were smart
they are actually
and gave
really
a shit
suffering
and knew what they were doing and not
underperforming
a whole bunch of
because
old
you see
people,
this consumer pullback.
they
And
would.
we can put C3 up on the screen, which is
You
going to
could
have
say
a
it's a
major
form of
impact
socialism,
as well.
but
So we covered yesterday.
you
know, the
can
Trump administration was saying we're not going
pay
to
the
pay
American
any SNAP
public a
benefits to judge
dividend
came
of
in and said,
companies
you
like
actually have to,
NVIDIA,
you have to tap these emergency
AMD,
funds.
these
So now
chip
they're
and
saying
tech
they're going to pay
companies. The American
half
public
of the
should get a
SNAP
slice of
benefits
it.
for November. However,
Facebook,
there
Instagram,
continues
MySpace,
to be, I
that's
mean,
not around
those
anymore.
funds haven't
Google
hit
are
for
gonna
people yet.
rot our
Here we are
brains with
November
ads
4th,
and YouTube,
and
like you're on
there's
right now.
no real telling
You know, those
when
companies
they will hit.
should
So an agriculture department
pay us a
official
portion
who
of what they're
oversees the
doing.
SNAP program said in a court filing that, quote, there are procedural difficulties that states will likely experience, which would affect November SNAP benefits reaching households in a timely manner and in the correctly reduced amounts. For some states, the required system changes that have to be implemented could
There's
take
street vendors at the
weeks
Tsunabe
or
seawall
several
selling that
months
right outside the
and
base.
could lead to payment errors and significant delays. So for the 43 million people who are on SNAP benefits, I mean, this is just an absolute, you know, it's an absolute catastrophe.
Yeah.
And of course it's going to have a ripple effect throughout the economy. And, you know, some of the places that are going to be hit the hardest
wife's
are
aunt,
actually
like, she made a
stores
nice.
in rural America.
It was like an
where you
eggplant
have
parm,
more
but she's like,
impoverished
she like bought one of those like big
populations,
fat
and a lot of
eggplants
the revenue from the store
and like cut it
comes
in
from
slices and just
EBT,
like
comes
put
from
ketchup
the
on
SNAP
it, stick it in the
program.
oven.
So
you
know,
basically
even though
make
you've
like
got
a
this ruling and the
budget
Trump
eggplant
administration now saying,
parm, and
okay,
it's
we'll give you
not
half,
bad.
which is already, you know, a 50% reduction.
Oh, yeah.
Is a massive
Flour, oil. You'd be
massive
surprised how
hit.
it is. My mother-in-law
No
made
telling when they'll
delicious
even get
homemade like
access to
noodles,
those funds either.
like Chinese style noodles. It's just
Yeah, I
flour
mean,
and
one
water.
of the things,
Make a
well, this is
ball
where
of
it comes
dough,
down
cut
to
it into
cost.
strips.
Let's say with Chipotle,
Mhm.
in general,
Boil it.
like,
It tastes
I
amazing.
remember when it was $6.
It's flour and
this
water.
actually was not that long ago, and I used to
You're
eat
talking about
5 days
Chipotle
a week,
now, if you
literally,
guys can hear
back
this.
in my early 20s. There was one right next to where I used to live. I was on name basis. Now though, like they had this recent advertisement, I'm not sure if you've seen. It's carne asada and red chimichurri. I was like, all right, gotta try it. Okay, it's like catnip.
Yeah.
So if you look at the overall price when I was done, keep in mind we live in a high cost of living area. It was $22.
Lizard egg, cabbage,
I
carrot.
mean, look, again, maybe
The red chimichurri though is good.
listen, it's good.
Liked it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. Was it $22 good? I don't know. Again, maybe boomer brain, but that's one of those where, you know, I don't drink alcohol. That's kind of what I expect to pay if I go to like a mid-tier restaurant, right? Like I want to be sitting getting some service, not some literally something in a paper bag that's wrapped in foil that you're eating on your couch when you're watching TV. That's just in my head. That should cost around $8 to $10. So $22. Not happening anymore. And you just have to think about how, again, for young people, especially if you eat out a lot, of course, it's about convenience. And one of it is, it used to be so that it was a little bit more expensive to eat out, but not all that much more. Maybe you could justify the value in your time. Like I said, like 13 to $18 for a bowl, depending on like what you're getting in there. How is that possibly even worth it anymore? I mean, you have to cook at home.
But
Like
then
there's
you
no
can't blame
choice.
them either because look at how
Yeah,
expensive
eggplant.
this
Yeah,
is.
you're right,
Right, but
Ishi. Just
exactly.
burn the
So then
outside
you're like,
eggplant,
okay,
it
so I'm
turns to
gonna eat
mush,
at home.
mush
It's
it
like,
up, baba ganoush.
oh
Real
no.
easy.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying for
There's
carne
those
asada
YouTube
there,
channels
or you
with,
can pay for it at Costco. You're
the
paying
old
a
ladies
shit
how to
ton
like
for
how to
it,
cook like during the
basically,
Great
no matter what.
Depression.
That is the part where
They make like
when you
delicious
see
food on a
how it
budget because the Great
pervades,
Depression,
you
that's the
know,
ultimate
even influencer culture. I
hard
think I've talked
mode
about
of
this,
survival.
about those YouTube channels where it's a like cook
That's what
like
they're
your
about to talk about.
grandma from the Great Depression. Those channels saw a huge explosion over the last couple of years. That's part of why is home, you know, it's so exorbitantly expensive as stuff that was once not even, I mean, would you call Chipotle luxury? Like I wouldn't. It was $6. I even remember in New York, you would pay $7 or something like it. Just was not that expensive. It was, you know, even in Midtown, it was like $7.50. I'm pretty sure.
Where's
if I
Pumpkin
recall.
King?
Now, I mean, what, $15 probably?
Pumpkin King,
for what
Pop,
that's
West
just-
Saruta.
That's a lot of money, and you have that for everything because it's
Well,
not
and
just
then
defense of
consider-
Chipotle. It's all fast food.
And consider what the minimum wage is, right?
Yeah,
Still
what's it?
All right.
$7.25.
I guess I know
Yeah,
where we're
and
going.
I mean, even in states that have increased, like, maybe they've upped it maybe to $15. So you're working an hour to get one Chipotle bowl.
I don't even know if it wouldn't buy you a drink. It definitely wouldn't. With tax, where I live, it would be about $15.
Well,
I think.
And this is really the story of our economy. Put C4 up on the screen. This is the story
me.
and the reality of our economy today. So now the top 10% 5% of income earners account for 50%. So half of all spending is being done by the top 10% of earners. And so you have
Salmon
this
sub finally
incredibly
sold.
lopsided economy. And then, of course, what happens is all the incentive, like if you are a business wanting to make money, is to cater to the people who have the money. Who have money to spend. And so increasingly, the economy becomes more and more tilted and lopsided towards catering to the affluent. There's a bunch of, let's go ahead and put, Kobayashi Letter did a long thread with a bunch of other indicators about the reality of the economy today. Let's go ahead and start these. They write, the elephant in the room, AI stocks are outperforming consumer stocks by 20% plus over the last 60 days. And as AI investment exceeds $1 trillion per year, car repossessions are at 2009 levels. There are
lemon lime juice
rich
is awesome.
Poor, and
Vitamin
AI
C powder, that's a good one.
Veggies
and spices is
and
good.
Really think about that, because overwhelmingly the people who hold stocks are the wealthy.
Get plant seeds for plants that grow well, like under like
from
a
this massive, continued
almost call it a hot
growth in
light,
the stock
like
market.
a greenhouse
If you're
kind of
just
light.
a regular
Like
wage
peppers,
earner
you can
trying to
grow a
make
small
it,
pepper
you are
plant.
getting screwed. Let's put the next element up on the screen. So here are the sort of consumer-focused brands whose stock prices are suffering. They say that on the other side of the table is a more bleak picture as opposed to the AI stocks. Consumer-facing stocks are getting crushed. Latest earnings season only underscored that. Take a look at the year-to-date performance of these consumer stocks. General Mills and Kraft Heinz, which we mentioned before, are in
So I was
a
growing
bear
pumpkins in my
market.
yard.
Put the
I had the
next one
pumpkin
up on the
vine
screen.
growing, and
The
then
economy's
deer came
particularly
along and
bad
ate
for
it.
Americans who are seeking
I
entry
planted
to
it really
jobs.
late, like in
The
September.
US
I didn't
unemployment
expect
rate for
anything.
youth graduates age 20 to 24, so people are, just coming into the job market, has averaged 8.1% over the last 3 months. That's the highest in 4 years. This is up sharply from under 4% just 2 years ago when the AI boom began. So it certainly looks like AI adoption is starting to take a hit on the job market, especially with new college grads in particular, or new associate degree holders. And let's put this last one up on the screen as well. This is a look at auto repossessions. We are now
You can be like Richie Dubs. He owns
have
chickens.
seen a huge increase in just the past year, and vehicle seizures are at the highest level that we have seen since 2009. So you have a huge spike in 2009, Great Recession, then it declines, then it climbs back up and reaches a peak during the COVID era, which makes sense again when people are losing their jobs and out of work and struggling through COVID. Then it declines, and now we are
Quail's
back
for the pet
on
snake,
the
and
march
she
up.
loves
so
quail.
on the one hand, you have
Do you
these,
watch her eat the quail?
record earnings for NVIDIA
Where does
and
PK
all
pop?
of this,
Yeah.
excitement about AI and these tech stocks that are just going up and up and up. And then the rest of the economy tells a very different
the
story
tower?
about what the reality is for people. And that's what I mentioned in our A Block, our election coverage. In Trump's first term at this point, people were happy with where the economy was. Some 60+% said the economy is good versus those saying it was poor. Now it's flipped, and it's 70+% who say that the economy is actually poor, and only maybe 25% that say
is this gonna fall
doing
off?
well. So
Might as well
for
level,
people's
like,
own experience in their life,
staff
they are
then.
really feeling the pinch and
Okay,
feeling
I
the
do a
pain in
pitchfork.
spite of what the top line on the stock market is doing.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and
She
in your
grabs
inbox
it but won't
every
eat in
morning,
front of
you
you.
can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
Like, Mommy,
That's
this is
right. Get the
gross.
full
You don't
show,
want to
help
watch.
support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.
She wants to eat in privacy. Animals are funny like that.
Boss I have had in my
That's who I think of when
entire
micromanaging was that person.
This person was an insecure, know-nothing wreck who basically, as far as I could tell, her husband ran the business. She didn't know shit, but she wanted to look like she was running the business. So her job was to micromanage people. She didn't do anything herself.
I worked for a
She would
lady
just
like that.
basically sit on her computer all day. Even though she could come in and talk to you, she'd sit on her computer and watch you work in Google Docs at the time. And they were relatively new then, but she could see like if you're typing stuff, and she would
Yeah, I don't like wasting
literally
food
put
either.
notes in the Google Doc as you're working. Like I wasn't done with my sentence yet, and she's like, "You misspelled that." I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? Just let me do my job. I'll give you the."
Yeah.
It's like it was literally like having somebody over your shoulder, resting their head on your shoulder and
Back.
watching everything you're doing. I'm like, "Do you want to ratatouille this? Do you want to crawl on my head?" and
It's
control
weird.
me that way.
Kept my gear?
Like, yeah, I'll put a big
Oh, I
hat
have
on
lock
you
style
because that's
on.
what it felt like. It felt like I was a damn puppet. I was there for, I don't even know, it was like 2 months. I'm like, I can't stand you. You're a crazy bitch. And I left. I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. This is insane. So I get that. If everybody's acting like that now I've worked for ad agencies before where we had billable hours and we would have to do things in increments of 15 minutes. But that's standard.
That's not the same thing. Yeah.
No,
I don't have-
no, it wasn't like, I mean, if I'd used the bathroom, they
Forget
weren't
it.
asking me why, how dare I use the bathroom or whatever. Now, if I left the building for an hour, they'd probably be like, where the hell did you go? You know?
Snake food is
But they said,
pricey?
yeah, kind of tracking doesn't
Snack
count
is
for
too
things like
expensive?
conversations with peers, thinking, or if you work in a warehouse, taking a rest so your body doesn't fall apart. You're not allowed to. That's what the machines are for. At least older workers knew a time before this tracking was ubiquitous, and at this point might be senior enough to have the leverage to push back against the most extreme types of surveillance. It's all about maximizing revenue, maximizing profit, but also I think people abused freedom that they had. I think that the older generation will also tell you when we were at work, we were working. Like it was our job. You know what I'm saying? You're not on your phone. You're not, whatever, on Twitter if it's not your job to be a social media manager. And
I
that's
feel personally attacked. Anyway.
No.
I gotta be careful.
Back in the day, there was more, I think, of a work ethic where people knew they went to work
Wait a
to
minute.
work. It wasn't.
Oh, it's level
fun time.
5,
You might have
okay.
had some friends at work or
I was
whatever.
like, wait,
but
how
your
am I
job
using
was your
boost?
job, and your home life was your home life. And now
Critical hit, 0 damage.
I think on some, and this is just a theory on my part, I think on some level the lines have been blurred.
Well, I think
because
that's what they're complaining about. It's like it's all blurred, and that's
Phone a friend.
you need to have work time and then free time, and they're not, and I think that's what they're complaining about.
They said young worker despair has been rising in the U.S. for about a decade.
It's been rising across everybody. It's not just you.
It's everybody, everything, everywhere. I think everybody's just on a knife's edge at this point. Yearly federal health survey of 400,000 Americans focused on how many bad mental health days.
There are good ones. Sorry.
One's described as containing stress, depression, and problems with emotions a worker had in the past month.
Like I said, there are good ones.
This whole mental health day thing, this is a new thing because we never had mental health days. In fact, stress, depression, and problems sometimes came from your boss, and it was just something you had to deal with to make money to go home and live your life, right? To have
$2,000 snake.
I'm not saying it's right,
reality.
but it is like you put up with it, and then you have to almost be able to compartmentalize your work self, not like severance, right? But like you have to compartmentalize your work self from your home life. And this is why you should, because you might deal with all kinds of abuse and
Gotta get the
bullshit at
cabbage.
work.
Where's the cabbage?
Sorry, they just found that workers under 25 mental health is now so poor that they're genuinely unhappy as their unemployed counterparts, especially with women and less educated. I'm like, you know what? The mental stress and that has been going on for years. So these people have just dealt with it. There's this mentality.
Who has Zolkeem? Sandy?
It's all worse now, and I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's just that you guys are so connected, and you spent your whole life. You're taking a fart or a shit, and you're posting about it on social media, and you're like,
Sometimes both. Guys, I did both. I sharded. Hashtag Shark Squad.
Hashtag nobody cares that you sharded.
I sneezed. Let me tell you all about it. And my cat made a funny face. You guys are so overly connected that, you have to share every damn thing. That doesn't mean that you are, you're getting it worse than other people. It's just that you are so used to talking about it. Everybody else just didn't. It was reality. It was life. You go home and try to forget about it.
Oh, I made a new friend who lives in Japan. I didn't know that.
Part of your day. I'm not saying it's right or it's good, but I think you have a whole bunch of people that are just so overly connected and they have to talk about every little thing that they think it's something new when it's not.
I am going to postulate that a lot of this is by design, and it's to, well, I'm going to tell you, because Gen Z, they're more connected than they've ever been. They seem to get, in a lot of ways, they get discouraged. They want to be, they're talking about this other article where they said they're addicted to location sharing. They have to be permanently online. I think this is about training people to give up their freedom for the promise of a better tomorrow that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, there's no better tomorrow because they're like under the impression that if there's socialism, if there's this stuff, and we have
That's where I was going
you're
with
going
it.
to be,
Socialism.
You're going to be able to sit at home and do whatever you want, and everything's going to be paid for. It's like no, because the jobs still have to get done. So you're going to be required to work. You're not going to be allowed to just sit at home and take money or whatever. You're going to be required to work or give some contribution to society to earn what you get. But you're never going to be able to get past a certain point.
This channel's really good, Clownfish TV. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, Nishi. They are.
This is all you'll have. You won't be able to
They're
live
red
the
pilled.
American dream
They're
or
a
do any
great
of that
channel
stuff
though.
because only people that are in charge somehow still have all the money and nice houses and stuff. They'll get to get whatever they want, but you won't. I don't just go research this. It's not that complicated.
It's
Other
always
places
been
have
this way,
tried
though.
This stuff and it's not worked.
I'm not saying it's right, but look throughout all of human
now.
All of human history. Everybody throughout the history of the human race, for the most part, has had it worse than you with your new cell phone and your new this and your new that, whatever.
Oh yeah, I know. Talk about being stressed. How about the people that had to go to war? How about all that, our parents' generation and our grandparents' generations that, they're 18 and they're out there, getting shot up. Let's talk about that. You want to talk about being stressed. Oh my God, they're micromanaging.
Oh, the social contract is fucked.
You're not out there.
We're still on the social contract from like the
when,
like 1800s, arguably. That world is long gone.
Across the country,
and we're operating like that.
Their families and hope to
That
God
weapon
their
skill?
families are okay.
Some literally would kill for jobs.
Some literally would kill for jobs. And they were willing to do anything to provide for their families. And try being 12 years old and being sent down in the coal mines.
Yes, I know.
Right?
I'm just like,
Come on.
We're expected to do stuff, and we don't like it. And I'm miserable because they micromanage me. And if you look at what the micromanagement probably is, it's something probably ridiculous. It's the same thing everybody else has dealt with. It's that you're used to being overly connected and talking about everything you do.
Yeah, I think that's by design. I think the powers that be are trying to create a generation of people that are completely
Everyone complains about having tech, but that's a boomer idea.
Dissatisfied with the way things
think
are,
they
so
are
can
keeping you
control
back, yeah.
over to somebody else. That is my tinfoil hat.
Yeah, just the social contract is fucked. It's graduate high school,
24/7.
go to college, graduate college, get a job.
Understand that, yes, sometimes
You could
jobs
save money in
suck.
between, buy a
We've all
house,
been
buy a
there.
car, pay off your loans.
I'm not
Go to
saying you
college,
stay
have
there
no
and find
loans.
something you
That
think
doesn't
you
exist
better
anymore.
Keep the job until you find something else. It's easier to get a
The
job.
generation that had that, the boomers, they threw it all away. The boomers are the swimming pool in The Sims. When they were old enough to go in the pool,
I'm sure it exists out there. And I get
they went in the pool, had fun, climbed out of the pool, and took the ladder with them and sold the ladder.
There's no place for you. It's been like that for a long time, and now that a lot of the in-person
It's not
jobs are
all
shut
the boomers'
down,
fault, but
it's
it
gonna
doesn't
be
help.
worse because now it's going to be replaced by AI. So yes, I agree, but you're not the only ones who've dealt with this.
AI still can't do the plumbing. AI still can't do the yard work. AI still can't, build.
Start a
buildings.
dog poop pickup business and make all kinds of money.
There was a guy, we talked about that in a previous video. There was a guy who did that. He was an
Well, I don't
executive.
know
He
if
got laid
it's-
off. He couldn't find work because he was too qualified, which also happens. He was too qualified for jobs, so he basically started a dog shit business. But then he turned that dog shit business because he had the executive skills. He turned that into like some multi-million-dollar thing and sold it or franchised it or something.
I know.
So it's
Well,
like,
like they're talking about one person about being freelance, and they liked how they have more freedom now. And it's like, yeah, you have.
There's
more
gonna see
freedom,
people
and you're
doing better.
happier, but you don't get the.
Those on the phone
they
is the
also
same
want
thing as
reassurance
old
of having
grapevine, yeah.
everything handed to them. It's like you can't have both ways. Do I think people are underpaid? Yes, people have been underpaid for years. Prices have gone through.
It doesn't help with tech though.
Inflation
Like
is
people go on
absolutely
Instagram,
ridiculous. So I think
Facebook.
you have a reason to be upset, and colleges are what they're charging.
People
is
go on
just
Instagram, see these people
Do I
with
think
fancy
they're reasonably upset?
vacations.
Yes.
They're living a better
Do I think
life
it's
than
all
them.
you? No.
It's a shitty feeling, but just know it's not real. It's artificial. They might be rich or come from money. It's what they come from. It sucks, but
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, Nishi. I remember my mom, like one Sunday we were getting ready to go out, the family out, go out somewhere, go shopping, go look at stores, just
I feel like
go out a window shop. My mom's friend she didn't talk to in a while called.
Gen Z is
She just sat on the phone all morning, like from 11 a.m. until like 1. She got off the phone and was like, it's too late. It's already midday. We're not going to go anywhere. And we just stay home and do nothing the rest of the day because she fucked up the entire day.
roll things back to the 1950s and they
Yep.
want to go back to
Remember mom being glued to the home
but
phone.
just, well, the dress, they're doing
Letting
the
kids
dress
run
and
wild
all
until the
that.
street lights turn on.
That's a
Let it be reminded that it's
that's
10 a.m.
Yeah, it's
My mom
weird.
was pretty good. She was a good mom
But
in the
they
sense
said, yeah,
that
the
she
reason-
wanted us
this
in
is
by
the
dark.
The experts said the reason they think that young workers are so unhappy is that they expect to be happier than previous generations, in part because they're using social media
Yes,
to
which is
compare
gonna make you
themselves to peers.
unhappy.
Yep, only to find themselves disappointed by the tedium of their own 9-to-5 jobs. The other hypothesis is in line with what
Talking
I've learned
trash
from young
about people
in the
from
workplace
India.
is worse.
I made a new friend who plays Horizon. He's in Japan, I
How
found
do you know
out.
it's markedly worse when you weren't there before now?
Yeah. I don't
10
know. 'Cause, I
p.m.
mean,
Do you
look,
know where your
it's,
children are?
We ran
I always
into
found
this
that commercial
with,
very
one
eerie.
of our own
Is it?
Perhaps our most signature phrase.
Oh, man.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I think we have the most
Sleeping next to my wife.
tagline in New York television history.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Anyone who ever watched News at 10 on Channel 5 will remember it because of that statement.
It's
Yeah,
10
this-
p.m. Do you know where your children
That thing
are?
from Fox is actually very
There's
helpful.
been
It does help
confusion over
people
who actually coined the phrase.
snap them out of their TV
"Why
and
don't
phone
you
addiction
ask the
delirium. Like, oh
question,
shit, kids. Where are my
of your
kids?
people just before you begin your program. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. Thanks for sharing that, Nisha.
interns. They were kind of bored by the daily tedium, and I'm like, well, that's 90% of what it takes to get what we do
Oh, you
done.
dick.
You only see the iceberg, right? You only see the public facing.
Fucking
part.
knows
You don't
what's
see the back end that makes it.
I was
go.
back home. One of
And
those
that part
fucks
is
did
boring
something
as
after
fuck.
all the bullshit I've
Puts
seen
the
in it.
music
I'd be
on.
ready
It's
to
a
kick
lot-
some
it's
ass.
a lot more work than
Same.
the other side.
It
you know,
is
that you-
that.
I like
yeah,
this
you
guy.
see that. I mean, it's just like a animation or putting on a show or whatever. People are like, oh, it's a half an hour show, so it's a half an hour of work to make a half an hour show. It's like, no, there's probably hundreds and hundreds of man hours and many people working on the show to get it to where it's at. And people don't see that. They're just like, I just want to do the fun part. And same with social media. They just see the fun part. Oh, here I am.
Canada is
on
fucked
the
with Indians
beach
right
with my
now.
Whatever.
Do I think employers are being ridiculous? Yes, I think some employers are probably being ridiculous, and especially at a time when they're desperate for employees, it's probably not a good time to be ridiculous. But if you're out there comparing yourself constantly to your peers and being constantly so connected that you don't feel safe unless you're overly connected and overly reliant on everybody else to have your back, then you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
You're making some of your miseries your own doing. But I can tell you for a fact, the whole idea of this, whereas the government should just pay us a living wage and we should be able to sit back and do what we want because it's too dystopian. That's never going to happen. Even if you would go with a socialist, whatever, to work, you have to still work.
Yeah, just at least now you've got a choice.
You have
kind
choice
of.
now, yeah.
Well, this is where it gets hopeful, and I talked about this before. They said Gen Z has a few disparate reactions to the state of play. They said they see entrepreneurship
Yes.
as potentially safer than corporate work at this point. Yes, I would
support that. Go for it.
I think that's it. I mean, we're kind of at a place right now where if we're not doing this and the other stuff we do, we're still probably going to find something else that we do or that we own because there is no job security.
Right, and we've been telling you that. So if you want to take an entrepreneurship path, especially
Talking about
with a
how
family
people in
that,
India, they
can help support you in the
in
interim,
Indian families,
then
they
by all
they have what's
means,
called
please
kitchen
do it.
fires.
And they said the one person's
It's basically how the mother-in-law gets rid of the daughter.
laid off.
The mother gets rid of the daughter-in-law she doesn't like. Just pushes her inside the oven, causes an accident in the kitchen where she gets burned alive, and just goes, "Oops."
And stuff too.
And it's just kind of swept
okay,
under
so
the
this
rug
is where the
and accepted.
unionization, because I'm hearing a lot more talk about unionizing in the last couple of years than I've ever heard. Right? So the other path.
Hey, remember we talking
unionization,
about the social
they warned that
contract?
renewed
Yeah.
Support for unions.
It's
is
broken.
An antidote to this misery. No, I'm telling you, what they're going to do is they're going to fire you as soon as they can, because
you're
you
asking
cost,
for it.
You pretty much you
I mean,
cost
no,
more.
because you're asking for even they're going to
Oh,
be unionized.
you're asking for it.
That's not how I meant it. Because you're asking them to be unionized, and if somebody else changes in there, they'll get rid of you first.
I would argue that there is no changing an established company. There is no changing it from within. People keep thinking, well, if I only work in that company and I embed myself like a tick and I can change the culture. No, if you want,
I was scratching his
you're
ass
gonna
and he
have
smelled
to
me.
make it happen for
Gross.
yourself. And there's a lot of tedium involved in that, and it's not all
It's a
fun
lot
and
of work.
games.
It's not easy. If you want an easier path, then taking the 9 to 5 that you don't like is probably the easier path.
Yes, but don't bitch about it because you're basically trading up, or you're trading your
This is
freedom
when
for
mothers
security, right?
kill
And,
their.
Yeah, having them both is not usually an option. I mean,
No.
it happens, but
you have to work. You have to work to get there, right? You got to work to get there. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna wrap this up, I think.
yeah.
You're like, yeah, let's wrap it up. One last shout out for Geeky Sparkles Kickstarter. Check it out. A couple days
There's a
yet till we
major
end it, and we'll probably leave it for like a week or two.
Female to male.
Until we run out of pins that we pre-ordered. Thank you very much for the support, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Oh no, I'm at. $46 HP. Anybody? Anybody?
Hey guys, welcome back to
Great
Clownfish
content.
TV. This is Neon again. Geeky Sparkles sitting this video out. I swear to God, she's coming back for videos today. She was just out yesterday, but I wanted to talk about this. This is a follow-up to a video we did a couple days ago where we were talking about how VPNs were likely to be outlawed, or they were going to push to outlaw VPNs in a push for increased security online to protect your children. And now Russia is moving to mandate state biometric IDs for online age verification. So it's not enough to say, hey, I'm 12 years old.
Zoran Mamdani has done a Nazi salute.
Fucking wild.
Yeah,
Like all of them
after he
have no
won in
brain
New
or common
York,
sense.
he
Just
did
fucking
4
dirty,
Nazi
disgusting.
salutes, hand on the chest. Now, what he was actually
This guy
doing
hates
was putting his
Indians
hand
like
on
he
his heart
hates
and then
people that play
waving to the crowd.
Horizon.
But it doesn't matter because the left
Ouch.
says this is what a Nazi salute is. Let me play the video for you so you can see for yourself.
I need
But there's
people
a
in
bigger
my-
point to be made, and that is it never mattered. It was never a real argument. Republicans think they're having an argument, while Democrats and liberals think they're at war.
I will say the Indian.
Here's the video.
There's a big Indian population in my town.
Here we go, guys. Nazi salute.
Their kids that are born here have the Indian accent.
New York, this power, it's yours.
What does that say? That means they don't leave their bubble.
This city belongs to you. Thank you.
Let me examine it. Archduke of Juno. Blah 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 blah. I got a red drop. Wonder.
Making history. Nazi salute.
Now that one, like obviously he's just waving, you know what I mean? But that one right there actually
He wasn't
was
doing
a bit more
Nazi
egregious,
salute. Shut
because his
up.
arm is erect.
Ecstatic crowd of supporters.
Oh, he's gonna do it
saying we have
again.
toppled a
He
political
keeps doing it.
dynasty.
Wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He held it. He held it right there. Watch this.
Oh jeez, come on! You're grasping straws. So stupid.
Before then waving his fingers.
How many drops do I have? View house, smog satchel.
You made the rules, New York. 4 Nazi
So,
salutes.
eerie cloak.
Indeed. Over
Purple
and
drop.
over and over again.
Red drop. Black drop. And I thought I need one more
says,
kill then.
Elon does hand gesture. Media, OMG,
Cloak.
he's literally a Nazi.
Drop. Drop.
Mamdani
Drop.
does the
One
same
more.
hand gesture. Nobody cares. There he is. See, that's the one I was pointing out before, where he actually holds it. Holds his arms straight up. He's not waving like this. In one of them, he's going like this. But that one, he's going for it. And hey, wait, what's this? Here are his articles. Elon Musk appears to make back-to-back fascist salutes. Musk's straight-arm gesture embraced by right-wing extremists, regardless of what it really meant. Okay. You know what's funny is this never mattered. It didn't matter that Elon Musk did it.
Nope.
It doesn't matter that Zoran Mamdani does it. It is Beam Dream. Head over to shopbeam.com/Timcast and you can get 50% off your
I gotta find
nighttime
someone to
blend.
sponsor me. Who's gonna do it?
I drink Beam Dream every night before bed. That is not a script. That is a fact. They first sponsored the show. I said, all right, this looks good. I'll try it out. First few days, it's good stuff. It's a hot cocoa before bed. It's got magnesium, L-theanine, melatonin. After like 3 or 4 days, my sleep improved dramatically. I didn't even think I was sleeping poorly. But I got these sleep trackers and my metrics all improved. And guys, listen to me. During deep sleep and REM sleep is when your body produces testosterone and human growth hormone. So you need to get good sleep. You don't want to be disrupted, interrupted. Beam Dream has really improved my sleep score by like 10 points. Okay, that's an actual number. So go to shop, BEAM.
Oh, it's so stupid, Tim. Zoran wins, blah, blah, blah. Here's a good one.
For voters with You want a good transition as to why I'm talking about
the social contract? Listen to this.
And the level of systems and the baked-in assumptions.
Basically, boomers trying to get property tax
Let me all enlighten you about
abolished, so they don't have to pay anything.
In my home state of Texas. Let's go and put this up here on the screen.
Just take this
is
in.
Like the hidden gerontocracy that rules all of us. So the
too many old people with mental disabilities walking the
Texas
streets, causing danger for everyone else.
Will take to
They're not very welcome to any foreigners because all their news
on a little
shows
proposition.
are
Now that proposition
bad,
is
but they don't say where they're from. So I get
property tax
lumped with the
relief.
fucking Indians and
Now,
Chinese
who
are super
could
rude
be
in this respect.
Against property tax relief, right? Nobody likes paying property taxes. It's horrible. Everybody wants to vote to cut them. But here's the little thing that they decided to, hide inside of it. What they decided to hide is that actually what a lot of Texas voters are almost certainly to greenlight is something called the Texas Older Adult Homestead
because of all their news
which
shows.
would not only will the state pick up the tab for homeowners under age of 65, but those 65 and older would gain an extra benefit if the new property tax bills are approved by the voters. The current homestead exemption would be increased from current homestead exemption for those 65 or older is $110,000. That's already an increase from $50,000 2 years ago. The exemption would then jump to $160,000, and a total of $200,000 would combine with the new thing. What that means is that you get to write off a significant portion of your overall property value whenever it comes to your actual property tax. 2 million Texas state residents would actually be affected by this. And what it would also do is cut the school taxes that people who are 65 and up would pay by up to 50%. So the way that this is worded is basically, and by the way, again, I'm under no illusions. This shit's going to pass 100% because everybody doesn't want to pay property tax. Well, and this gets to what we were talking about earlier, what most people in Texas love is usually like, oh, we have no income tax. Well, okay, that's great. But it means that property tax is going to finance the vast majority of local services. Well, who wants to pay for those local services? Well, the people who benefit from those local services, let's say emergency services.
You go back to the computer thing, Nishi. My mom used to every night sit on the computer and just email people in a like drunken stupor,
of those services. But what
sending
they have decided
emails,
to
gushing
do
and
is to rig
glomming
the property
and
tax system such
overly
that
emotional
they will get
emails.
their school taxes cut. And the justification is that they don't have children in schools anymore.
If the computer
so they
broke,
should not
she would
have
demand to
pay
use
for
my
it.
laptop.
Now,
And I was at an age where something was mine. It was fucking mine, not.
People in the past
You're a little
had to
kid.
pay
They could be like,
for their
ah,
children's
that's cute. It's not yours.
Their
You're in my house.
decision
It's
is
mine.
that because
It's
they don't
fucking
use the
mine. It
schools,
was my
they shouldn't
school
have to
issue
pay for
laptop
them
that I
anymore.
paid for, a
And
laptop
what
somebody
the net
gifted me.
result
It's
means
fucking mine.
Is that people who
You
people
freaked
who are
out. What do you
younger,
mean?
who don't
Your
get
laptop's
a
locked with a
property tax
password. Who the
homestead
fuck do you think
exemption,
you are? You're
even
in
though
my
their
house. I was
property
like,
values are
it's
also
mine.
exploding, not only will have to pay
I need to check my
property
email.
tax, they will have to shift the burden of school taxes onto them.
Anyway,
this is the type of
give this a
hidden
listen.
nonsense which makes it so that being young and having a family in this country becomes unaffordable. And these are the types of people who vote. And it's like I'm so enraged by it because I'm watching this happen in every state across the country. New York State, by the way, very similar homestead exemption. This elderly exemption tax is built on this idea of so-called fixed income. And the theory behind it is that people who are on Social Security should not be, quote, forced out of their homes. Now, first of all, they get a cost of living adjustment from the Social Security Administration of inflation. That's number one. Number two is, at the end of the day, who is the state supposed to serve? What is Texas so proud of? All of these millions of people moving from across
All right,
the
I need
country
one more
for
PK kill. We
affordable
can definitely
housing
get
to
that. We
send
can make
their
it
children
happen.
to school. They're now going to have to be stuck with more of a bill because these elderly people don't want to pay for their children's school. We all live in a society. And just by the way, in terms of this whole like, well, we don't use the schools, so we shouldn't have to pay for them. I'm not morbidly obese. I don't go on dialysis. 1% of the whole federal budget is for dialysis. I am not a Medicare recipient, a Social Security recipient. recipient. I don't get any sort of exemption. I can't opt out. By the way, do you know how many childless people? I know I lived where I currently live now for years with no children and didn't use the schools. I still had to pay the school tax. Childless people all over the country have to pay school tax if they're under the age of 65. I just think it's totally absurd the way this is happening. And this is, again, a nationwide thing, which is gaining steam, in particular in areas where a lot of younger people are moving. So let's put B8, please, up on the screen, because there's a similar measure down in Atlanta and in Fulton County where they similarly want to do some sort of cap for property tax and schools.
No, same as North America. They come and expect people to bend to them.
This, by the way, is only an expansion of what is already the case
Indian
in almost
people
every
go to
state
Japan
in the
too.
country, which is adopting these 65-plus property tax exemptions for people who are on so-called fixed income. And what it does is it locks elderly people into their homes, and you basically are supercharging the whole nation as California, where when people in California, you know, they bought a house at $200,000. They lock the increase in the amount of their property tax such that they don't have to pay the actual market rate. But when they sell the house, the person who buys that house still has to pay the property tax of the newly assessed market value. And what it means is that boomers never leave a shit ton of housing stock. So this is kind of what I'm talking about the hidden,
Love me some red pill people
underneath that make it completely unaffordable, and that frankly, like, it's not even a political, there's no politician that can just wave a wand and do away with it, because here in Texas, where I'm from, this is massively popular. The way they phrase it is for elderly people. Most people are like, I want property tax relief, and they don't even look at it. Well, they don't even understand what the benefit, like what the, you know, the impetus behind it is.
What I would say is this is actually part of a political vision that is being effectuated, which is, there's a number of parts to this. I mean, number one, Republicans have long had a war on public education effectively. And, you know, this is the push for vouchers and against teacher unions and all of, you know, you see lots of anti-teacher rhetoric coming from the right, and you long have. And so it's, you know, that's one piece of this. Like the excuse to cut the budget for the schools is something that Republicans are always excited to take up. That's number one. Number two, you have in the type of voters you're talking about, they're very politically powerful because they vote.
Yes.
They vote, they contribute to politicians, they do the volunteer work, they show up. Like, and so, yes, they've amassed a large amount of political power. And so politicians very much cater to them. So then you have
running into a wall.
Long-term national bipartisan project of inserting sort of like this hyper individualism where it's everybody up by their bootstraps, every man for himself. And so it manifests in ways like this, where you said this comment about like they have to live in society. Like we all have to live in society.
But they don't
together.
believe in society.
But well, and that's the thing is that
they
is
don't
an
believe in
ideology
society
that has been perpetuated in this country for decades now. Of basically like, who cares about society? You get yours. And I think we're at the like extreme like tail end of that ideological project of where it feels like the economy is very uncertain, AI is coming, climate crisis, like existential politics, all of these sort of, you know, all of these sort of crises that are mounting and right in front of our faces.
Isn't that shitty?
You have more and more people who
the
are
boomers
in a
can
mentality
retire.
of like, I'm just going to get mine. You see that all the way up to the White House, by the way.
The boomers can retire and don't have to worry about AI taking their job. They're probably saying to themselves, I don't care. It's not going to affect me. You know that's their logic. They're going to retire right at the right time. Oh, AI is coming. I don't know how that works. I didn't learn new things. I haven't learned how to do this, use the work systems in 20 years. I don't need to. And they somehow stay employed.
The way of like, you know, I'm going to get mine with my crypto deals and building out my ballroom and doing whatever the hell I want while I can. So I think that ideology also infects the public, and not to make too much of it, but is, you know, this is like one small instance of the way that plays out in the public policy.
But see, I don't think it's small, because Florida is about to try and abolish all property tax.
Yeah.
That is one of the oldest states in the country. Like, do we all understand that? Is that these places which are zero income tax are now going after property tax to make it so that all of the people who are young who move to those states for affordability get the entire tax burden shifted onto them.
It's deeply regressive.
It is not only deeply regressive.
is
Think
the bottom
about
line.
this. I mean, look, you know, I'm going to sound like an uber lib now at this point. Who do you think is floating the state of Florida, literally, whenever it comes to hurricane relief? The federal government. Who pays the vast majority
New
of the
Jersey
income
pays
for
for Florida. Wisconsin pays for
and all
Florida.
of us via Social Security. Who's the one paying for all their health care? All of us via Medicare. This is the stuff that drives me crazy. They have no qualms lobbying for their, tax-free Social Security, every tax benefit in the world. They are the wealthiest generation in the entire country. They make it so they lock up the housing stock, increase vastly the amount of wealth that they have, and then lobby to make it so that they don't have to pay very much for any of it on a tax level, and shift the burden to people with young children. All of society is basically structured this way. I was talking recently about the health insurance thing, and the thing is if you look at the overall increase right now for not just Obamacare, but in general, is some 15%. Well, guess what? We are paying hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month, the average person who has, let's say, 2 children. People on Medicare, they're always complaining because they have to pay $100 or $200 a month. It's like, what a joke. And the theory is that, that they paid into it. No, the vast majority of Medicare recipients receive vastly more dollars from the federal government than they ever paid into the system. And I just think what it does is that they're privatized. We have socialism for the old, and we have rugged individualism for the young. And they like it this way. This is part of the issue where the shifting tax burden, and in terms of the cost of living crisis, is
3 to 5 from
dramatically
cap, most
affecting
ideally.
family formation, marriage, the entire
You don't have to worry
American
about
dream.
needing
And
support.
at the very same time, the states which have the most elderly influence are actually making it
Give me
to
that
shift
egg.
even more of the tax burden on the people who are younger. You even see it here in the federal government. Who got the best tax cut? People who are old, Social Security. There's no organized effort for anybody who's young. Like, I've been thinking about an AARP, one of the most successful lobbying organizations literally ever. And of course, nobody can crosswise them as politicians. Why don't we have that for people who are like 35 and under? Like, why don't we have
AARP for people under 35
and under? There's no
what would it be called?
unity or there's no unity, sympathy, or general consensus for a lot of people. So I guess it's a long-winded way of saying what you're backing up
Jesus
your point
Christ.
about society.
My chat
people
isn't synced up.
genuinely, especially the wealthiest and the elderly here,
hang on,
seem
Nishi.
to actually believe
Chat,
that
turn
they
it
made
off,
it on
docs,
their own, and not
chat.
because of a variety
You,
of
OBS
structural
wasn't bringing over the
factors
newest
which
chat.
were
Where we leave off?
societally based. And they're now telling the
Here's
young
a link to the
people,
thing we're listening
"Screw
to that I
you,"
keep
like,
talking
make it
over.
on your
Well,
own.
and
And I
You
think
gotta
that's
change from
if
the
you
inside,
have-
board of
if
directors.
you,
Yeah, otherwise,
give up on
thinking that way. Yep.
we
Those
live in a
homes in Texas are
society that
fucking
we're kinda all in
expensive.
this together.
Doing quotes for homes like
I mean,
being worth
the
600K to
country
1 million at a
literally
time.
doesn't
Jeez.
work.
MySpace
I mean,
edition.
even if you think about
My mom
right
was playing
now,
Final Fantasy 11.
we
I
were
would
talking
have to
about
level
Trump
her.
threatening New York City funny, right?
Index parties,
Californians and New
RuneScape.
Yorkers are looking
Texas
at
homes
how
are only
much
2
they
to
send the
3,000
federal
square feet.
government
Yeah.
and how much they get back and are going,
AI will take my job in
you.
2050 to
that way
retire.
We float the rest of the country.
It's
I traded having a
You
family so I
look
could
at your
retire
Mississippis
comfortably.
and your Arkansas. Like, you're nothing without us, New York and
What is going on
California,
here?
and these blue states that have massive job creation and wealth and like send more tax revenue or net send more to the federal government than they're getting back. And so when that logic starts to come,
Not too late.
take
If you want to have
hold,
kids,
you start to get. Yeah,
I don't know how old
people
anybody
calling
is, but
for,
adoption,
hey, you know what?
you
We're
can
not
have kids
sending our
later
tax
on
revenue to the
now.
federal
And
government. We will send it to a trust to be held. And then when you give us what we're supposed to get,
I met
then
people
we'll send you
who-
the tax revenue. That's the
Am
sort
I
of
lagging?
thing that it leads to on a national level. When you
I met
lose
people
the
who got
idea
married like
of
not until they
this
were
is
like
a
in their
society
60s,
and
never
we're
been
all
married
doing this
before.
thing together.
They want to live their life,
There's been
work,
a lot of
save money, then get
bricks
married.
laid on the path to that place. But Trump, as with many things, is accelerating in that direction when he's explicitly withholding billions of dollars from states that he doesn't like the politics of.
don't you feel that
and
way?
is openly threatening New York City right now because they're voting for someone that he doesn't like.
Don't you feel that way? I do. Like, with this bailout to Argentina, and every time we have to pay our quarterly taxes, I'm just like, oh man, like it makes me.
Think about
happy.
Texas.
It's one of
All
those
these
where,
California
look, I don't
liberals
want to fall victim to the same
and other
sense
states,
of the
liberals from other
boomers,
states
like,
move
when
to
you see
Texas.
what
They're going to
actually
put
gets
those liberal
prioritized,
policies
at
into
the federal
Texas
level.
law.
What I focus
Texas
on
state
on the
legislature,
property
senators,
tax thing,
Congress
that is the
people.
one which has the most impact on your actual life is schools. If you're young, is schools. And the fact that these people want to opt out because they, quote, don't use it anymore. while at the same time taking the socialized benefits
Yep.
that all of us are paying into
Right
and
here.
floating them makes it,
The boomers want to
infuriating
opt out of paying
to a
school
level
taxes because they
that
don't use
not
it anymore.
nearly enough people have bought into. And what's even worse
But they
is a
want
lot of
you to
people
keep
are like,
paying Social
"Oh,
Security,
well, why would you ever wanna
Medicaid,
tax
Medicare
anybody?" I'm like,
for
well,
them.
do we have schools or not? Like, we have to have a school.
You want to live in a society where people are
They
just,
do
like,
realize if the
completely
K-12
uneducated,
system kids
illiterate, and only the rich can send
don't get
their kids to
educated
private
and don't get
schools,
jobs
that's the
and don't
society
keep
you
the
wanna live
economy
in?
We've
alive,
already
they're going
lived
to
in that
fail on the
society,
back
and
end.
we
So
all
they're going to get
collectively
fucked.
decided we're not doing that anymore. And now there's like this new war, basically, to say that public education. And I'm not some free college guy, okay? That's about higher education. I'm talking about K through 12. Did we not all have some sort of a consensus whenever it came to that? And we have a lot of local input. I think it's great.
Yeah, they're
that
already
everybody
changing the
fights about
laws.
what's happening in schools. It's good. That because it means you care about your education. You should have a say. But the point actually comes back to the reason you have
What
a
am I
say
out
is
of,
'cause you're
lizard
paying
eggs?
into it. And then these people don't even want to pay for it because they're not using it. They want some a
Oh,
la
distilled
carte
water and
system
fire
for it.
crystals.
And this is the reason I'm raising the alarm is that as they amass more wealth, more political power, this is now happening in almost every major state in the country. California has it for boomers. Now Texas is going to expand it. Florida
They don't care if people are
literally
too
wants
stupid to live. Well,
eliminate it. If you
they
are
need to,
under
these
the
boomers.
age of 35, if you have children, you are the person who is massively going to see your property tax bill and it has to increase from somewhere. And in a lot of these cases, they're making it
this
so
synth
that the burden, and again, you're already
only
paying
one
extraordinary
egg at a
amounts for
time?
healthcare, for basic cost of living.
That's
This is a
dog
singular
shit.
part where
Party
public
egg.
education, something we used to be able to rely on, is now actually going to be made more expensive for the actual families, for people who are going to be the future, which I think is totally wrong. Okay, let's get to the economy topic. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show.
Yep.
States like Texas and Florida are going to be the beneficiaries of this exodus out of New York.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. We've discussed before, Rita, that in the US, the federal system is one of the great geniuses of it is that it makes it very easy to move around the US, different states looking for work, looking for cheaper housing, looking for better standard or quality of living.
I had my way. I wanted to move out of New Jersey
Very easy to
over
do
10
in the
years ago,
US
but
in a way that
fortunately, life didn't go that way.
in most other countries. When Governor Abbott said that, I mean, I take it with a pinch of salt, but there's a serious point, by the way, behind that, which is when there have been exoduses of people from,
Give me lizard
for
eggs.
instance, progressive states, liberal states like California in the past, you see a phenomenon that occurs in other countries too, but it's very stark in America, where people end up leaving a place where the policies they have effectively voted for most of their lives come into effect, make their lives worse.
Yeah.
And then some people who can flee to a place that has more conservative politics, but they bring their liberal politics with them. You can see that, and you can see that in Texas, where many people from California fled California. They go to places like Austin, Texas, and they keep voting Democrat. So it's
Distilled
I
water?
can understand
No, it's
Governor
cooking.
Abbott's slight wry comment there.
Oh, and plenty of Texans feel the same way. And you look at Austin with the
Everybody
influx
says
of
they want to move to
Californians,
Wisconsin.
New
I think they're just
Yorkers,
trying to
unlike the rest of Texas, you've got
act
a lot
all
of the
buddy
same
buddy pally
issues
with
that
you. No
you
offense,
see
like
in New York and San Francisco.
who
But
says
let's,
that though? I really want to move to
hear from a New York
Wisconsin. Like
woman about what issues
I'm going to New
really
England or I'm going to
matter
Florida.
her
That's
and
my
will determine
maybe
how she
Virginia.
votes.
Virginia seems
It
nice when I
gives you a
drive
clue
through
into
it.
why
Near
Mamdani's
Richmond,
doing so well.
kind of in the middle, East Coast.
Is it okay that our neighbors
You're in
are
the East
getting
Coast.
taken off the streets?
You're north, you're south, you're in the middle.
Is it okay that gender
North
affirmative
Carolina's
care is
nice, but I
being
think it's
taken
getting
from young people
expensive.
who really need it to survive? Is it okay that the Supreme Court has now justified racial profiling? That's not how I want to treat my neighbor.
Now, Douglas, some may characterize that woman as an
That fucker.
awful, that's an affluent white female leftist. And that is a powerful voting bloc. They're among Mamdani's
People in
most
Florida are
committed
not going to move to
supporter
fucking
base.
Wisconsin and California,
They can
but
turn
more so Florida.
elections. You look at the
As soon as that cold
demographics,
winter
look
hits,
at
they're
the
gone.
voting
They're going to go back to
patterns,
Florida.
And that bloc votes very left. in a
God
very
forbid they're
consistent
cold for
manner.
12 months.
Yeah, in fact, of course, it's similar types of politics that are actually responsible for the government shutdown at the moment. The Republicans and the Democrats
Who's
are
paying
at
$2.01
loggerheads
for a
on
stack of distilled
one
water?
issue in particular, which is whether or not illegal migrants into the U.S. should be given health care.
No, they shouldn't.
That's
Are people
the
that
sort
come
of
here
position
illegally
that
really
many
given health
Democrats,
care, or is that a
frankly,
misnomer?
have found
Or is that
themselves
just
in,
rage
is
bait?
supporting things which
I don't know how that works. How do you give them health
15,
care?
20 years ago,
If they show up to the
would have
hospital,
been
you treat them. If they show up, you have to
absolutely
treat them.
disastrous policies
And they just
for
don't pay the
left to push
bill.
for.
Is
If
it the
you
same thing
went
as
back
giving
to
them
the
health care?
1990s and had a very successful Democratic president like Bill Clinton, if he'd have said, yes, we should have open borders and anyone who breaks into the country should be given superior health care effectively to
About
many
the price of
Americans,
insurance and wishing they could have the
people would have said,
pricing
did you
from your
want
state.
to not get elected? But there has been this extraordinary shift on the left. It's true there's been a shift on the right as well, but there's been an extraordinary shift.
These colored
on the
eggs will be
left
good
in
for
recent
the
years.
the
And
Easter event.
Just consider this, that look at the priorities of that woman. I mean, gender affirming care, please, when it is to do with one of the world's great cities, perhaps the world's great city, staring into the face of democratic socialism, and you're saying, let's not talk about the economy, let's not talk about the illegal immigration, let's not talk about the crime, let's not talk about the homelessness, any of these things. Let's talk about gender affirming care. Normally, that is the sort of thing that would make a party and a candidate totally unelectable. Yet, weirdly, we do have, as you mentioned, Rita, this strain of people for whom there is just never a cause too progressive that they don't want to die on the hill of it.
Even if it hurts them personally, that's what's remarkable, particularly with these affluent, overwhelmingly white leftist women backing the most radical
Calls to ban
elements
property
of the
taxes,
trans
further enriches
agenda.
boomers at the
Now,
expense
to
of everyone
contrast
else.
from
Yep.
that, we have
Public
an
services
increasing
deteriorate while
number of young
geriatrics tell
people,
everyone else, fuck
college
you, I
kids
got
who
mine.
are rejecting leftism and
Yep.
rejecting it
Oh,
loudly,
yeah.
Douglas. You wrote about this phenomenon
This is a
in
glorious
the New
tweet.
York Post.
Yes, that's
This
right.
is exactly
Rita.
what I feel in a post.
There was an event in Mississippi just last week organized by Turning Point USA. And at this university, more than half the student body registered to attend the event. And there were crowds growing in the street, from queues forming from the break of day till the end of day to get into the event.
Hopefully, I can get
It was,
the apron.
Not least, I
by-
suppose, was the
I don't know, it
draw
might take a
of,
few
the
days.
Vice President J.D. Vance, but actually, it's
I'm gonna run
something
out of
that
money.
Charlie
I'm
Kirk
finally gonna bottom
and
out,
Turning
not be
Point
able to
have
afford
tapped into.
synthesis
other
materials.
Groups have as well, PragerU and others in the United States. They've realized that a lot of older conservatives effectively gave up on the younger generation, effectively sort of decided that, well, everyone goes through this liberal period, at least for a time, and they do it when they're young, and we'll try to speak sense to them and they'll get it when they grow up. And Turning Point and a few other organizations have realized, actually, no, there are lots of reasons why young Americans, like young Australians, young Brits and others, should be voting to the right and should be interested in conservative policy. And among them, of course, the most striking is the fact that many of the things
increased
in
property
their
tax
society, in our
exemption for the
societies,
elderly.
do not work for the young. And again, the left has its explanations for that. It will always say things like, well, that's because we've got to tax the wealthy more or whatever. But there are many other arguments that can be made too, conservative arguments, not just on issues that affect the socioeconomic status of young people, but also that address their urge and their desire for meaning in their lives. I'm very struck by the fact, I think you said this before, Rita, that I'm very struck by the Christian element in parts of the young American right.
This is so brutal.
And it's part of what I see as being a deep hankering for real and substantial things to be back on the table again. You know, the left has been very good at talking about not just specific things, but grandiose things. They talk in terms, as I've often said, of resentment.
Ridiculous.
For
The
instance.
synth skill
But there are
upgrade
other
shouldn't be
things
this
that can
bad.
be offered to young people as well, such as, again, something I've argued a lot over
The
the years,
IQ in your
such as
bio is
urging
accurate.
them
No
toward
idea
a-
what we
a
pay for school
position
dogs
of
this year. I paid
gratitude,
$15,000 last year.
towards the things
So
that
25
are
years
within
away
their
from
society.
getting a
Recognise
tax
the
break,
things
but I
that
still
do
want it.
work in our countries, that make our countries great.
So fucked in
have
Florida. I have no
made our
idea how bad
countries
it is. I
great, and
already
which
know
we
it's going
can
to
have
suffer this
pride in.
fate.
I see things like this
Save
as
100,000
just
property
little
taxes by becoming
signs, quite
disabled.
big signs, you might say, of a change in the generation coming up. And I don't think that that generation should be in any way abandoned by conservatives. I think it should be spoken to by them.
Douglas, I hope conservative politicians in Australia are listening to you, because too many on the so-called centre-right here seem to think if young people vote left, then we must veer left instead of actually arguing our positions. Now, you also noted in this New York Post piece that there's been a dramatic drop in the number of young people identifying as
The
trans.
last
In
fire,
2022,
Crystal.
almost 7% of undergraduate students polled in the US identified as trans. Last year, the figure was 3.6%. It seems like the social
eggs can't be too
contagion
expensive,
is
right?
over, but here in Australia, we remain an outlier when it comes to trans madness.
Coloured
And here's
egg.
another example. Parents of kindergarten-aged children in Queensland are being asked if they want they/them pronouns for
Meats
their
and eggs.
4-year-olds. Douglas, there you go, non-binary 4-year-olds. How do parents combat this activism?
No, I mean, the first thing is, of course, that you
Non-binary.
seized exactly the right term there, Rita. It's a social contagion. There may be a very tiny number of people, probably are, as I've always said, a very, very
Stack of
tiny
these
number
go
of
for
people who
3K.
genuinely suffer from gender dysphoria. But most of what we have seen in recent years has been a social contagion, which has been fueled by several things. One, of
Sorry,
course,
a
is
4-year-old.
by
Not.
the media.
I'm not sorry.
But
A 4-year-old does
more
not know
importantly,
that
it's
they're.
been the social contagion
4-year-old
push
biological girl does not know
where,
that they're a boy.
it's been deemed
Does
to be
not know
bad
that
to be a
they're
man, to be bad to be
non-binary. That
heterosexual,
is such
to
bullshit.
be bad to be white, and if you add all of those things together, then if you are somebody who is, I mean, it's the same. It's the same to a certain degree with women as well, but they've got sort of one little niche more on some of the social justice hierarchy, pyramid, grievance in some people's views, unless you have conservative views, obviously, in which case you're back to being a non-woman again. But just bear
A vegan
the
cat.
point is that if you actually if
No
you
cat is
deem
vegan. That's
these
the.
things to all be
That's
bad,
the owner making
you
it that
will
way.
encourage some people
Oh yeah.
to try to
Oh, you're
find
right. Spot
a
on.
place on the
That's
victim
parents deciding that.
hierarchy pyramid, and identifying as genderqueer, non-binary, and so
Oh,
on
God.
has been in recent years clearly one of the ways in which some young people have tried to do that. If you add on to that the fact that many of them have literally been miseducated into believing that, for instance, sex is a spectrum and we're all on a sort of, slippery slope, we can go up or down, and sometimes you're a bit male, and sometimes in the afternoon after a cup of tea you're a bit female, and that anyone cares. That's the other thing. And that not
After a
just
cup of
anyone
tea,
cares,
you're
but
female.
everybody should care.
I drank some tea tonight,
Of
so I guess I'm
course
feeling a
some
little
people are
girly.
gonna try to tick that box. It's just very interesting, this stat, Rita, that shows not only a halving of the number of people identifying as, gender non-conforming and so on. In some places, it falls by 2/3.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have just realized that all
Daycares.
that
I
stuff
took my
was
daughter
the
to. We
peak
checked that before we put her in. We
what was
toured the
sometimes
daycare,
called
talked to the
wokeism.
administrators, and
It was the peak of the social justice.
I asked them. I
hierarchy,
said, "Is there any
intersectionalism
Pride
thing."
Week event
And thank goodness, maybe
stuff
we're
here?"
starting to see
They all
it in
said
the
no.
rearview mirror.
We don't believe in that.
As you say, apart
It's
from in
boy's a
Australia,
boy, a
I
girl's
would
a
say to
girl.
the parents of
We don't do
any
that here.
parent who sends their kids to a kindergarten like that.
And I told one of our
Teach
friends
the
that.
children to read.
What
and to know
they're
what a
another couple. They have a
noun
kid.
is and a
The
verb
guy's like,
is,
"Oh, so what? You want to find a
so
school with
on.
anti-Semitism week?"
Before you instruct them on
And I'm
what
like,
a pronoun is.
What? Those
Maybe
two things
wait
are not
till
connected.
they're 18 to talk about the gender crazy, or
I don't
or
need
some point later. But
Pride
teach
Week
them reading
for a
and
5-year-old
writing
or
first.
younger.
because those are the things.
And that's okay. That doesn't make me anti-Semitic or have other racist,
apart from being
mean
boring
proclivities.
and
It's
so
just
on,
a dumb
it is
take.
a way to just avoid doing anything real in the world. You know, obsess about what pronouns you put in the bio.
Doing anything
and then you
real in
don't
the
have
world.
to do any work that day. I really hope that Australia stops being the outlier it is at the moment on this issue.
Douglas Murray, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Colored egg.
Great pleasure as always.
With the anti-Semitic socialist Zoran Mamdani headed for Gracie Mansion, is New York City...
Stop panicking. Mm-hmm. Influencers are can't talk. Influencers are going broke. I better be careful. Oh man. Everybody's upset. There he is, Curtis Sliwa. If you don't like pride, you don't like anyone. Yeah.
We need to get law and order and policing back on track.
His name is practically synonymous with his ruby red beret.
If you show one iota of fear, your enemy will persevere.
And now this outspoken, cat-loving native New Yorker has turned his sights on Gracie Mansion again.
I'm not dropping out. I'm fighting to the end.
After losing to Mayor Eric Adams in 2021, Curtis Sliwa is back.
It's clear they don't know anything about the streets of the city of New York, all 5 boroughs, 350 neighborhoods, 472 subway platforms, where the working class people, the poor and the indigent are.
Despite calls from President Trump and a host of fellow Republicans to drop out, Sliwa is holding firm.
He's not going to win. I don't know. If he dropped out, maybe Cuomo would have a little bit of a chance, but not much.
It's a race that's captured the attention of the nation. And some speculate that Sliwa refusing to bow out could prove decisive in this contentious race.
Don't throw your vote away. It's between me and Mamdani. A vote for Curtis is a vote for Mamdani.
I think on the stage you can see two people appealing for the Republican Party's votes.
Late to bed, early to rise. That's been the story of my campaign. I'm out with the people of New York City. And boy, it's the best focus group of all.
Hi, Mr. Sliwa. Lindsay Davis, how are you, sir? Hey, pleasure. Very nice to meet you. So this is your home away from home, right? You pretty much take the subway every day?
Subways, I love it. It's the veins and arteries of the city. Unfortunately, it's like having clogged arteries. There's so many problems.
Yeah.
And none of my opponents really want to address it. They're almost never in the subways. And this is where millions of people travel each and every day, whether they're my friends.
Yeah, Cuomo's not taking the subway.
But it's like a focus group. They pay for their focus group. All you got to do is pay $3. And you get a focus group every time the doors close and you're stuck in a car because you're not going nowhere until you answer their questions. They are the toughest inquisitors of all.
And so what kinds of questions do they ask you?
Well, they say, what are you going to do about the homeless people who live here? What are you doing about the emotionally disturbed? Look at the garbage. Look at the decay, the smell. Your senses get attacked every day.
Yep.
While we're talking, we're seeing the business cards.
Yeah, well,
so these are the cards you give out to, you say, you estimate 100,000 New York residents.
Easily, because I'm here half the time in the subways. So it relates to the subway users.
Phillips.
I'm like you, I ride the subway.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about Halloween. Tell us about the signs here.
Well, this is the destination for what is no doubt the greatest Halloween parade in the world, and I'm here every year. This neighborhood went for Zoran Mandami overwhelmingly against Andrew Cuomo. That's why I spent a lot of time here, because there are a lot of millennials and Gen Zers who could conceivably vote for you if you actually go in, shake their hands, and talk with them.
All right, let's head down. Do you have a particularly favorite subway stop or a line?
Yeah, where I started, Coney Island, Stillwell Avenue, all the trains, the D, the F, the N, and the Q.
What am I missing? Fire
Stop
crystals.
there and you see the Ferris wheel in the back. You see the roller coaster. You see Coney Island. Even when it's not in the season, it goes from Memorial Day to Labor Day, but it's magnificent.
What do you love about New York?
New York City subways are disgusting.
Is that New Yorkers have strong opinions. They don't hold back. So they give.
They're not all gross.
they take,
There are some gross trains.
They like having somebody that they've known for 46 years that they
But
can
I don't
kibitz with.
miss it.
And that's what I love. They're talkers. They're talkers.
No way.
They're very expressive. And you really get a feel for what's going on. So remember, there's a
Last time I got on the subway, there's this
I'm the oldest guy.
lady who gets on. She like just walks on like anybody else would.
Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
And then once the train starts moving, she starts walking back and forth with her hands on her head, just like walk over here and just mutter to herself, walk over here, mutter to herself really loud, back and forth. Then her stop comes, she goes, looks at her watch and just calmly walks off the train.
Eventually went global.
We're calling upon all those citizens who are in support of the effort and have asked what it is that they can do to help bring justice to the situation.
So decades ago, of course, you founded the Guardian Angels to help patrol the subways overnight. What was the impetus?
Gangs back in 1979. If people want to know, because there's a whole generational change, just look at the classic cult movie, The Warriors, cult movie classic, and you'll know exactly what we were dealing with. There were no cops, there were fiscal cutbacks. New York City was on the brink of going Chapter 11. I was a night manager of McDonald's in the Bronx, which was burning down, which had more gangs sometimes than cops, gang members. And so that's why I was motivated to start the Guardian Angels.
How do you think that the city has changed since then?
Oh, the city has changed enormously. It's been the greatest migration of people from other areas, fly over America, who come to New York City, because there was tremendous flight in the 70s. 1 million people left. And then the millennials and Gen Zers, many of them have only been here like 10 years or less. They filled in the gap for the good of New York City. Their politics, though, is very, very left.
What are you going to do to try to, because you talked about the millennials, and obviously you know how Mamdani has really captured the imagination of New York City's youngest residents. So how do you persuade them that
Probably
you
get
have
another
great
high wind.
ideas for the future?
Well,
Terrible
because
idea.
The one thing the millennials and Gen Zers like is I keep it real. I talk in a language of the streets. And more importantly, I have a track record. With Zoran Mandami, you can fit his entire resume on a cocktail napkin. He really doesn't have the background.
He is so old school.
Relating to people who have done well in school. They went to
Somebody
4 years
said
of
like,
school. They got
show me
their
a picture of
graduate
or a
degree,
video of
and
it
they're
of a
like,
New Yorker.
I represent
I'm going
blue
to show
collar
them
working
this.
class people. Said, hey, we're in solidarity. Blue collar workers are being wiped out by all the developments in technology. And you, my
Got
friend,
beast at 37. Look at
artificial
you.
Intelligence is going to take your job.
Gotta unlock that
Financial
ninja.
Analysts, CPAs,
You can dual wheel,
lawyers
get
like my
them
wife.
shadows.
You can't trust the billionaires. Unfortunately,
I mean, really not in a
Zoran,
hurry to unlock
he
Ninja because you
attacks
can't
the
use
billionaires,
Utsemi until level
but he
12.
also has billionaires
Oh, no, wait, you can't do that.
bankrolling him.
I can't
Andrew
math.
Cuomo has 60. You know how many billionaires I have?
So you'll need to
Zero.
unlock Ninja,
I'm
level
not
it
the
up.
most mayor. Well, right away, first and foremost, I would have transit police, of which we didn't see one, while we were down in a very crowded station. Not one. They're not enough. They have to begin patrolling in twos, like these gentlemen are here. On
You
the
want to
move.
see them down.
But no, on the moving trains, because that's where the problems are.
You've been shot multiple times here in New York City. You've been beaten by baseball bats. Why not leave? What's kept you here?
Oh, I was born here. As you said, they tried to kill me here. I'll die here. I'll be buried here. I'm a son of the soil. I'm the only real New Yorker running in this race. The others, they've had a cup of coffee here. and then they've gone to other places, which is fine. But Curtis Sliwa, if you even ask my adversaries, they'll say he's the real New Yorker.
And we talked about safety on the subway. How about safety on the streets?
Yeah, well, this is interesting. We're walking in an area. It's called South of 14th Street, Lower Manhattan, where in 1 month last year, there were 50 attacks of women. They now have a new category. They call them random attacks. Wait a second. 50 women, including 2 female reporters, one for the Post, one for WINS, the all-new station. What are you talking random attacks? These men, some of them emotionally disturbed, some of them who obviously have issues, came up to women, and you see it on the video. Unbeknownst to the women, and bam, knocked them down or stomped them and kicked them, traumatized them for life. And guess what? Many of them, because of Andrew Cuomo's no cash bail, arraigned, released, given a court date. And now these women have to see these same men roaming around. That has to change. And I'm the one to change it.
Do you see one of your opponents in particular as more problematic for New York City?
No, both my opponents are all part of the same system that has brought us to this crisis. I'm the law and order candidate. I call it a crime crisis. We live in a city where we lock up toothpaste. We don't lock up criminals. I mean, it's embarrassing when people come and visit us and they say, Curtis, I try to get a tube of toothpaste. I got to wait 20 minutes. Everything's locked up. You don't seem to lock up your criminals.
So what would you do?
Excuse me?
What would you do to change that?
Immediately start pressuring the authorities because you have the bully pulpit. So when a DA or a judge releases somebody who should have been remanded to jail, no bail, you put the spotlight on them. You name them and shame them.
We head to our studio to continue the conversation.
All right, well, we are here now.
Coming up, we ask the question many are asking Curtis Sliwa.
Some members of your own party have said they're not going to vote for you. They've urged you to get out of the race. You've said that there have been people who've offered you as much as $10 million to drop out. What's kept you in it?
I give you $10 million to quit. Holy moly.
And such a pleasure to have Curtis Sliwa join us tonight. Thank you so much for the time, sir.
My pleasure. Out of the subways and into the suites.
Into the studios, yes. So this isn't your first time running for mayor of New York City. Why do you want this job?
Oops.
Well, in 2021, I ran against Eric Adams. He was a Democrat. I was a Republican. I warned the voters that he would be corrupt and there would be chaos. Unfortunately, I was correct. And then I saw the same storm clouds gathering with the reemergence of the political zombie, Andrew Cuomo, who was responsible really for the crime crisis in New York State.
Appropriate for
and
Halloween.
It seemed like he wanted to come back and put the final nail in the coffin of New York City. I said I'm the only person who stands in between. Little did I realize that he would run no campaign in the primary expecting a coronation. And a guy that a year ago, his neighbors didn't know him, Zoran Mandami, was 1% in the polls and beat Andrew Cuomo by 13%.
Why is this taking so long?
And that's when I realized I'm the only guy who could take him on because I'm the only other candidate that's in the streets and obviously the only candidate in the subways where most of the people are.
You ran 4 years ago. At that time, Donald Trump, who was running for president, got 500,000 more votes in New York City.
Come on,
How
man.
do you think you're going to win? What will be the strategy? How will it have a different outcome?
Well, remember, there's always greater turnout in presidential elections. That's been the history, unfortunately, throughout the country. This time, though, I saw what Donald Trump was able to acquire. I saw what Lee Zeldin was able to acquire in the gubernatorial race the year before. So we micro-targeted those voters. You have to do that in advance. That should get out the vote months and months in advance. So it's not about advertising on TV because most of the people see the advertisements are in the suburbs. Hey, great ad, but they can't vote. You have to go door to door. You have to send your texts, your emails, your snail mail. You got to follow up with the phone calls.
What's snail mail?
And then you got to get those people to vote. Luckily, we have early voting, 10 days. There's been a tremendous rush of voters. I'm happy to see this, even if they're not voting for me, because this is democracy in action. One person, one vote. The billionaires, the influencers, and the insiders are not going to pick the next mayor. That's obvious.
It's going to be the people, and I trust the people. I don't trust the billionaires.
Some members of your own party have said they're not going to vote for you. They've urged you to get out of the race. You've said that
What's
there
going
are
on
people
out there?
who've offered you as much as $10 million to drop out. What's kept you in it?
Fucking
Well, I
hell.
got to tell you, I told everybody who offered me money, you know, this is like unethical. It's bribery. It could be criminal. And if you continue to try to bribe me, I'll be wired up like a Christmas tree, and you'll be talking to investigators of a prosecutor's office. Boy, that stopped that. But because they stirred up people's passions, you had men and women out there threatening me and my wife, Nancy. Now, I've been threatened before. I've been shot by the Gottis and Gambinos. Luckily, I'm alive. But I had to go out and get, for the first time in my life, private security, retired NYPD armed officers to protect my wife, Nancy, who protects the animals, and to protect myself so that we could actually let the people make the determination of who
Who
the
says
next
that
man should be.
anymore? John Gotti and
Look,
the
they've been threats on
Gambinos.
Zoran Mondami. Serious
Those guys are
threats on me.
dinosaurs. That's like
the
saying
rhetoric is too
I don't know,
high,
the fucking
and we just got to lower it. Let the
feudal
people
Japan ninjas
debate
are
the
coming
merits of
after
all the
you. Like, what the
candidates. They'll
fuck?
make their decision. I'll live with it. But I tell you this: if Zoran should win, I'm not fleeing like Andrew Cuomo said to his billionaire friends in the Hamptons. I'll join you in Florida. I stay. I fight for what I know is right. I improve. I don't move. I will be the loyal opposition here. And every time that a Zoran Mondami or supporter steps out of line, I'll be there to counter-check them by organizing in the community.
Was it ever tempting, ever a shot that you said, maybe I should drop out?
No, because whenever that pressure would rise up to the points where they're threatening my wife, I'd look to my wife. I'd say, can you deal with this? Because I've dealt with it my whole life. She said, no, we're in it together. I have nobody in the world better to thank for that than my wife, Nancy, who's never been through this before. She didn't grow up the way I did. And she said, no, we got to save the city. We got to save the people. We got to save the animals. And I have everything in the world to thank her for that, for being in solidarity with me every step of the way. Someone else might have decided it was too risky.
This is painful under
too
white
much
mage.
pressure,
Oh, my
but
God.
she stood resolute with me.
As you know, President Trump really tried to clear the way for Andrew Cuomo. He urged Eric Adams to drop out. He did. He urged you to drop out. You've stayed. So how do you respond to those who may say, if Mamdani wins, hey, it's because Curtis Sliwa didn't drop out. He split the vote.
How ridiculous. I'm the major party candidate. If you didn't want me as the Republican, you could have primaried me. And they were flirting with that idea of having Eric Adams primary. They did an initial poll. They said, well, he'll get crushed by Curtis. Because I'm the people's mayor. I'm there for the people, even when I'm not running for office.
Oh, I'm about to fall asleep.
So a major party candidate never drops out. When in the history of electoral politics does the major party candidate, the only Republican, the law and order candidate, drop out for somebody who
Did you
got
give a
caught
Japanese
in the
Magic the
Democratic
Gathering
primary?
influencer
He
a
couldn't even
Costco
win his
bundle?
own primary,
Nishi.
Andrew Cuomo. And now, if you
Grateful
try to
to
find him
Nishi-san
on an
and the
independent
American
line,
Wizards.
good luck. You got to get through a maze. That ain't happening.
funny.
We're just a few days away. I trust people. I don't trust party leaders. I don't trust billionaires, influencers, insiders. They are not going to pick the mayor. The people. Isn't this a novel idea? One person, one vote. Wow. And yet all these people want to basically interfere
Fucking
with this
weak. I don't know if I
election
can do
cycle
that.
instead of letting the people
All right, I'm going to shut it on
determine who the
down
next
now.
mayor is.
President Trump has said
You're pretty
you're
good.
not ready for prime time. You're not a viable candidate. So if you do win, how would you work together?
Oh, man.
One thing I said in both
Level
debates is,
61,
I'm
7
not
more
foolish
levels to
enough
go, and we
vote
can unlock
chess
the
with
apron.
the most powerful guy in the world, Donald Trump. He holds all the cards. But if you notice, Zoran and Andrew Cuomo, they're fighting
All right.
each other. I'm tougher than you.
Nishi,
I'll take on Trump.
Anthony,
First off,
anyone
you
else
see
who
how
stopped
Trump
by, thanks for
operates.
hanging around.
You have to show him
And
respect.
Bob,
It's the
thank
art
you.
of the deal. You have to say,
Everybody
Donald,
anywhere
realize
who
that,
lingered but didn't
the
chat,
federal
that's
government
okay.
is withholding money, Medicaid.
I'll see you next time.
SNAP
Have a
card,
great night.
Food stamps. They want to cut
And
back on public
let's
housing.
keep it real.
What
Thanks,
can
everyone.
we do? How can I lessen the pain for the poor and the indigent that I'm responsible for?